All right, we're live.
Hey,
Awesome. Okay. Uh,
awesome.
thank you. Thank you everyone for tuning in for our stream, the pre-show, the 1 minute pre-show. Please
Yep.
let me know if the audio sounds okay because I want to be able to adjust it before not too soon into the show. So
Testing, testing. Can you
yeah,
guys hear me?
let me know if Pie's too quiet or too loud or whatever, and I can adjust it. So
I'm never too quiet, Shadow.
oh,
I th- I,
okay.
th- I think we know that. uh,
Dang. All right. Hi, Titan Jojo. All right, let me do this.
yes. Sunday.
Sunday, Sunday, Sunday.
Sundays are made for stream soda.
Should I add that our guest is in the title? Like, or that who
What?
our guest? Should I add our guest's name in the title?
If you want, sure.
Okay. We have a guest. He's not
Trying to
here
promote
yet,
him.
but he'll be yeah, yeah. He'll be
uh,
here soon.
Now you're gonna get people that show up just for him, and then he's not here now, and everyone's gonna tune away.
Well, we didn't announce it in advance, so I mean.
Yeah. I did, but
Oh, you
anyway.
did. Okay. Never mind then. I'm wrong.
uh, Hey guys, Pie Guy Rules here, and welcome to Dream Soda.
Hey, I'm excited for this one. I've been looking forward to this for about a week and a half now, so this is gonna
hmm
be good.
Oh, hey, Goken. No, unfortunately, the special guest we have this week is not Jace Norman. Maybe
Oh,
someday. We've got KuroTheArtist joining us later today, as soon as he can find his way home from fast food place, I think, is where he's at currently, but he'll be here, probably, hopefully. Um, he'll be popping in at some point. Yeah.
yeah. So it should be good.
hmm Got a pretty fun show today. We're gonna talk about all of Harley Quinn. Of course, we'll let you guys know when the spoilers start, but we are gonna be talking about both seasons, right? Shadow, you watched all of it?
I watched all 26 episodes, so I am
Nice,
good to
nice,
go.
dude. Harley Quinn is like one of the best newer shows out there. I think it's
Hmm.
something wonderfully different.
Yeah,
Um,
I love it.
Yep. So we're going to be talking about that a little bit later in the show. We have a little bit of news, not a lot. We've got some Harley Quinn news, of course, and then a little bit of news in regards to Netflix and Hulu removing some episodes. We want to have a respectful talk about that. Um, and yeah, before that, we're going to talk about some stuff we've been streaming. I've been watching a really good show, and I've
Hmm.
also played a video game.
There you
Uh,
go.
so Shadow and I we're gonna talk about Battle for Bikini Bottom, right?
Yep,
Yep.
yep. The original, not the new one. Yeah,
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
whoa.
I'm just kidding. I'm
All
just
right.
kidding. I don't actually hate the game. Don't get it twisted, chat. I'll explain when we
Yeah,
get to
yeah.
it.
But first, if you've never been here, this is our live stream we do every Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We talk about a streaming original, usually either the entire series or a season. We just kind of give it a little bit of a talk. Things that we've done in the past are Solar Opposites, Kipo, and the Age of the Wonder Beasts, stuff like that. We usually
Hmm.
try to pick stuff that's kind of topical and timely. And we also talk about streaming news, and we just kind of talk about whatever we want to.
Yep.
hmm
Yep. We also have a section for the podcast slash live stream show, whichever way you prefer to listen to it. In my Discord server, there's a link to it in the description. Feel free to join. All you got to do is agree to the rules, and the mods will let you in. And in the Stream Soda section, I'm supposed to have a bot that posts whenever we go live, but it doesn't seem to work, so I got to fix that. Yeah, and then you can also leave suggestions for future episodes, and we also read some of the questions during the Q&A section straight out of the server. So if you want your questions to be seen in the server rather than maybe getting lost in the chat, you can always ask them there as well.
Um, Additionally, just as a plug, I played Battle for Bikini Bottom with Chugga Conroy last week on my other channel, Pie Guy Plays. So if you haven't seen that, the first part of that's out. And I will most likely be streaming it again this Thursday at 4 p.m. just to kind of keep things nice and consistent. So check that out if you haven't.
Yep. I'm also doing a playthrough of the game with my girlfriend over on my channel, First Time Playthroughs. We have the first 3 parts out, and we're going to be continuing to upload that this week, so you can also watch it there if pies was not enough to satisfy your Battle for Bikini Bottom craving.
Did you and your girlfriend play the multiplayer mode for an hour?
Not yet. No, we're saving that for
Because
last.
Chugga and I played it for an hour. It is 26 islands with multiple waves on each island.
Oh, okay.
It's nautical nonsense, all right.
All right.
Oh boy.
That'll be something to look forward
Yep, and of
to.
course, if you don't know, look on the first link in the description to see our Stream Soda channel. That is where re-uploads of all of our live streams go. This week I was a little late on re-uploading, but they go up sometime in the next week. So if you missed part of the stream or you just want to see our old streams, that's where they are. Don't look for them on this channel because people get really upset if I upload things that aren't, I don't know, what people want to see, I guess. 26 islands. Oh man. All right.
Gosh, I don't even know what that's gonna be like.
Yep. And this week we do have our first guest on Stream Soda. He should be popping in at some point, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
It is KuroTheArtist, wonderful guy, good friend of ours, frequent collaborator on the recast, and someone who really is owed $1,400.
Yep. And still hasn't gotten it.
Oh man.
Aw.
Okay. Also, yeah. Hey, everyone in the chat. How you guys doing? And now we just sit in silence as we wait for the chat to tell us.
Yeah,
how
I'm
they're
waiting
doing.
for them to respond to us. I'm like,
The music in Battle for Bikini Bottom is amazing. Don't let Pie Guy tell you different. I didn't say that. Sugar Conroy said that the music wasn't amazing, and I said I haven't played the game enough. I didn't remember the original's music, and I haven't played this one. So, calm down there.
I can recall every single theme, although that has nothing to do with the fact that not only am I playing through the game, but I recently made a video on it. That's besides the point. No, but in all seriousness, I do remember like all but I think the only theme I don't know how it goes is Kelp Forest, but that's just because it's kind of like just noise. It's just environmental noise and then like a light like melody behind it.
But, hey, people say they're doing good. Nintendo's in the chat.
Hey,
And he he mentioned that I badmouthed his videos last week, the first time he didn't make it to the stream. So he's here. All right, well, let's get into it then. So have you been watching anything on any streaming service in the past week?
Unfortunately, the only thing I've streamed is our main topic of discussion.
Okay.
So.
To be fair, you had to watch all of Harley Quinn, so that's that's no short feat. I mean, granted, it's only like what 20 episodes, 20, 26?
26, I think.
That's still a lot.
Yeah.
Yep. So I have been streaming something, and I'm super excited. It's just the show. It just never. You can watch it as many times, and you never feel bad about it. It's always great from beginning to end. Even the episodes that are like not as good are still amazing and awesome. And I've been watching Avatar. And here he is.
Yeah.
Hey guys,
KuroTheArtist.
KuroTheArtist.
It's Kuro.
Yeah. Kuro, you ever heard of a show called Avatar?
Avatar. I think so. Is that the one by M. Night Shyamalan?
Yes, it's amazing. These guys pick up some rocks and make them
No
float.
way.
It's great. It takes like 3 minutes. It's the most jaw-dropping thing.
Fantastic.
So anyway, it's great that Avatar's been seeing this resurgence thanks to Netflix. It's just a great show. Like there's nothing. I don't really know. I mean, if you want me to go into a little bit more nitty gritty with it, I am doing a playthrough of the Avatar video game over on my Pie Guy Plays channel, and I will be, as future episodes go on, I will be talking a little bit more about the show. I'm almost done with season 1, but it's one of those shows that you just keep watching. Like you never want to stop watching it, like you watch an episode and then you're like, oh, look, what's up next? The Blue Spirit. Oh, well, we got to watch that one. Like, so yeah, so that's what I've been watching, as apparently has everyone else in the known universe in the past month, thanks to Netflix and CBS All Access.
Oh, it's on. It's on CBS.
All Access.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you didn't have Netflix, but you have CBS All Access, don't worry, you could still watch Avatar.
Yes. And that's not the only thing that'll be there, because the SpongeBob movie is going to be the new one is going to be on CBS All Access.
Yeah.
So Viacom's starting to dip their toes in that, I guess.
That's true. You know, CBS All Access also does have Korra, whereas Netflix doesn't. But man, I don't know. Avatar is it's just one of those shows that just there's like no flaws. I mean, you know, you can dig deep and nitpick certainly, but like even within episodes, like I just watched Bado of the Water Tribe, and certainly, you know, Aang's actions in that episode leave a little bit to be desired. But even still, that's an episode where there's the Shirshu that's like sniffing out where the gang's been. There's great uncle having a crush on the bounty hunter lady. There's a really cool fight where Appa gets involved. Like, there's still a lot to love about that episode, even if you're not a super fan of how Aang hid information from Katara and Sokka. Kuro,
Yes.
have you watched anything on any streaming service in the past week aside from Harley Quinn?
I seen the last 2 episodes that finally showed up for My Hero Academia. I don't know if you guys are into that.
Oh,
An Animu.
I still need
yes.
I still need
Tapping
to
into
catch up.
my weeaboo natures. And it got me hooked. I blew through like all the episodes that were available in like a month.
Wow. What's that on?
Yeah.
It's on, so all seasons are on Hulu except for the last season. You need like Funimation or Crunchyroll or something, but Ryan let me have his account, so thanks, Ryan. Shout out to you.
Neat.
And I've been watching a lot of movies lately, actually, because I've kind of just, you know, it's very frustrating for me to get into shows since I draw a lot of the time, and I've listened to pretty much every podcast I can. So I'm just like, well, when I have free time, I'll just watch a movie or something, so I don't have to get too attached to a world. And I was just rewatching a bunch of random things. Like I rewatched all the Back to the Futures. I rewatched Green Hornet with Seth Rogen in it, just because I remember seeing that as a kid and I didn't remember a single thing about it. It was all right.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Kuro, have you heard of a video game called Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated?
Yes. And I've seen a lot of glitches on Twitter.
Ooh.
So,
Hey,
But-
you know, it's funny you mentioned that because, so, while Chugga and I were playing the multiplayer mode, at the very end of it, his glitched out and it was just Squidward in a blue screen. And I asked him, I didn't know if he wanted to tweet it out. So I was like, hey, you want me to tweet that? And he's like, oh, yeah, sure. So I tweeted out. I got like, I don't know, like 80 likes or something like that. And then he decides to go ahead and tweet it out. And Chugga, it's like one of Chugga's most popular tweets of all time. It has like 100,000 likes on it. Like,
really?
yeah, no, it's insane. Look it up if you haven't. It's really funny because it's
Did
just
people try like keying Squidward onto different things since it's a blue screen?
I don't know, but you probably could.
Yeah.
Have you played the game though, Kuro?
I played the original like way
Okay.
back when.
Okay.
I don't think I ended up beating it. I think I got to like the part right before you fight the big Robo SpongeBob, and I got stuck somehow. I remember being really frustrated with all the sandy levels and like lassoing onto the Texas things. I just sucked, honestly. Like it was probably really simple, but I was not good.
Oh.
But no, I haven't played Rehydrated yet.
Okay. Chugga's tweet has 41.7 thousand likes. Almost 7,000
Wow.
retweets. That's nuts. Anyway,
Wow.
Shadow, I know you've been playing. I've heard you had some opinions.
Yeah, so okay. So you ever have something where, you know, you appreciate it in so many different ways for all these little details. And then you go to something that's like almost the same thing, but it's lacking those little details, so it kind of is like a little negative in your eyes, because that's how I feel towards this game.
Ooh.
Like, fundamentally, all of the core elements are still there. You know, like the game still looks great, the level design's the same, the characters, you know, have the same moves. In fact, Sandy and Patrick actually got some additions slightly, which is good. There's a lot of, you know, updated things from the original game that make it seem better on the surface. But there are a lot of little things that just kind of diminish it for me. And some of them are nitpicks and some of them aren't. Like for example, when it comes to the level design, because this game is a remake and not just like the original game with a new coat of paint, like they actually built the game from the ground up, the physics are slightly different. And the level design is not one-to-one proportional because there are skips you can take now that you don't even really have to try too hard to achieve, and you can just kind of get past certain chunks of the level that you don't need to do. And it's like, if you're not trying to go out of your way to do it, then you might not notice all of them, but there are definitely some easy skips. Like I know the Murmelair has a pretty big one.
The speed run for the game is 2 minutes.
Yeah, well, there's the glitches and all of the bugs, and it just doesn't feel like it's completely done. Like the polish is missing. They got everything they needed to put out the game, but there are more patches on the way, and I really hope they fix a lot of the things. Like there's one thing where I play with the camera controls inverted because that's just how I prefer to turn it horizontally. But every time you switch characters, it resets your camera controls. So if I were to switch to Sandy, it would go back to the default, and I'd have to go into the menu, switch the controls, do it again. And then when I want to switch to SpongeBob, I have to go back in the menu, switch the controls, do it, And it's a little just, tedious to do. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's still a solid game, and I'd recommend it to anyone. It's just when you know the original so well, you pick up on all those little differences that seem to come off negatively.
Do you think it has the support enough to like last long enough to get those updates and everything, or do you think the glitches are just turning people away from the game completely and the fan base will more or less be gone by the time they actually update the game?
So I think one of the things that's actually helped spread the game a little bit is the glitches. And I mean, that's a blessing and a curse, because on one hand, it's like, yeah, this game's kind of buggy and it's, flawed. But on the other hand, it's like, oh, look how funny, we can make Patrick grow to like 1,000 times his size and take over the whole level or whatever. So like, there's definitely some fun to be had, and I do appreciate that. But I know that they've at least confirmed one more patch is on the way. I don't know if there's anything after that. I don't know how long the developer plans on supporting the game and updating it. But I really do hope that they fix some of the more annoying mishaps. Like, I don't know how I feel about that whole chum bucket glitch where you can just skip to the end and beat the game in 2 minutes. I don't know. I mean,
speedrunners... you can really beat the game in 2 minutes? I thought Pi was joking.
No,
you can beat the game in 2 minutes.
How does that work?
So it's basically like as soon as you load into the first level, you go on the map, and then you can like glitch the game into warping you straight to the chum bucket final boss fight.
Wow.
Yeah, you can skip right to the final boss. I don't know how they do it because I didn't look into the details, but it is possible. I mean, that's more of a speedrunner thing that I'm not as not as bothered by. That's more on that community's stance. But
so in the like 4 or 5 hours that I played, I did get, I believe the game froze on me once, but I was still able to take a taxi back to a spatula. Like it wasn't a hard lock. So that was nice. Other than that, I honestly didn't experience any bugs personally. I'm not saying they're not there. I'm just saying that I played the game for a while, and I don't think it's, and I played the Switch version, which due to reasons I played the Switch version, but that's the buggiest one apparently, and I didn't have any issues. Not saying that those issues aren't there, but just that's my experience. But that's disheartening to hear because, I've got on record as saying this, but I just feel like the big thing is just don't mess it up, right? Don't mess it up. Even if there's nothing added to this game, even if it is basically just a reskin, even though they had to build it from the ground up. As long as they don't mess it up, I don't really care that much. I wasn't expecting I was expecting a more convenient way to play, right? Battle for Bikini Bottom. I wasn't expecting an entirely new experience. But bugs are one of those things that it's like, well, I understand they had to remake it from the ground up, but like that doesn't excuse the fact that there's a lot of bugs, especially because they didn't have to do anything in terms of game design or vision or ideas creatively. Really, they just had to remake the game. So it is disappointing to hear that. Hopefully the patches will fix, because that's that's what patches can do. Luckily, I don't
with all these glitches there, do you think the developers noticed and were cut for time, or do you think they just somehow never came across any of these? Because like 1 or 2 glitches I can get, but it seems like there's so many in this game. Like I feel like I don't know. I don't know how they put this out without noticing.
It's Nickelodeon.
They
Like,
they
of
I
course
mean, they were
they're gonna want
probably
to
aware.
rush it to make as much money and to
Yeah.
ride the high while people were still talking about it. And well, the third movie, now it's been delayed again, but it was going to be kind of timely with the third movie and the spin-off series and all this. So yeah, no, I wouldn't blame the devs. I guarantee you it was that Nick wanted it. I feel like this was a passion project for someone. Someone really, really wanted this to happen. And of course, Nickelodeon's not gonna, invest in it in a big way, but I'm sure they'll throw some budget at it if they think the game can make money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know that the idea was to release it in tune with the third movie and the new spin-offs and whatnot. Yeah. So it's just unfortunate because like the movie got delayed right before the game came out. So it's like, oh, could they have delayed the game too? Because another thing that I forgot to mention, this game has the worst pop-in I have seen on a modern console ever.
That's so
the pop-in and loading in of the textures and it's terrible.
The grass like 2 feet in front of you will not be loaded in. Like,
like you'll come in from the loading screen and it's still not loaded and you can walk like a solid 3 or 4 seconds and then it just pops. There it is, and it's like,
why is the grass even there if it's gonna Media Fanatic says Nickelodeon signed a deal with THQ Nordic back in 2018 where this is one of the 16 old Nickelodeon games from THQ to be remade. I didn't hear about that. That sounds like a lot of games.
I do remember that.
That sounds like a lot of crummy games to get remade. Hope they don't do the Avatar one.
Yeah, I don't know if they've announced any other games that would be yet.
Probably the Fairly Odd Parents ones. I bet you those.
Yeah, I think Nicktoons Unite might be in there.
That
as
would
well.
make sense. Probably
I could get behind a Nicktoons Unite remake.
I could too, especially if they made it better, because that game definitely could use some improvement.
Yeah. I only got to play the Game Boy version. I've seen gameplay of the console version, and it looked very slow. Mm-hmm. But it was just kind of cool seeing them all like CG modeled. The Game Boy version, it actually wasn't that bad.
Huh. Well, that's the thing. The Nicktoons Unite is not. It's not an amazing game, but it is. It is playable, and it has those fun Nickelodeon interactions that you'd want.
Yep.
Like I did a test stream the other day playing Cartoon Network Battle Crashers. None of the characters have any voices. There's no voices. So it's a
Are you?
Yeah, it's a game. It's just a generic beat 'em up. And the only appeal, right, is that like Finn and Jake meet Steven Universe, meet Mordecai and Rigby, meet Gumball, but none of them talk. They don't even have in-game dialogue with each other, like text dialogue.
Do they even have like grunts or something when they get hit?
No, stuff. They're silent. They're silent.
Ah, that's weird.
There's sound effects on their attacks.
Like lacking.
It's the dumbest thing. This does include the Avatar games, according to Media Fanatic. Oh no. I don't know about the second, third, and the Avatar movie game because that's a thing. But the first game is just awful. Oh gosh. So would you say you're enjoying Battle for Bikini Bottom though, Shadow?
I'm enjoying it. Like it's not like these problems don't ruin the experience. That I catch myself noticing like, oh, I noticed that this is different. This wasn't in the original, and sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad. Like I notice one thing I find myself constantly picking up on is like I'll notice when sound effects are not there. Like for example, the one wind turbine in downtown Bikini Bottom where the sock's at the top of it or whatever, and you need to jump on the trampoline. When you go up there in the original game, there's a sound effect for like the metal spinning around. There's no sound effect in the remake.
Weird.
And like it's a very minute detail that ultimately doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. But there's so many of these little changes here and there, or things missing that I pick up on because they're not there when I'm used to it. And as a veteran, you know, it's obviously going to be more distracting than somebody who may have never experienced the game before. Like, you know, it's not a deal breaker, but there are minor changes that I'm just like, why didn't they put it?
Would you say for the people that never played the original that they can play this and get the same kind of experience?
I think they might. For an experienced veteran, in comparison, I'd say a new player might have a better experience because, you know, they don't have the original to compare it to.
Like Pete of Dawn is bringing up here, the sound design of the remake is really bad, and this has been one of the most contentious things. And to this day, I still hear different reasons. Nobody really knows why, as far as I understand. But all of the voices are exactly as they were back then.
Yes.
Which includes the fact that Clancy Brown is not playing Mr. Krabs. It's some other dude that just talks like this, me boy.
Yeah, they did not re-record anything. They remastered the music, but they did not change any voices.
And they say they I've heard claims that they can't do it because if they change some of them, they'll have to change all of them, and then we'll lose Tim Conway as Barnacle Boy because he's passed away. Some say that Nickelodeon just didn't want to pay for any re-recording when the audio's there. There's been kind of different explanations. I don't know what makes the most sense personally, but I do know that it's frustrating because that's one of the things that people would really want fixed. Mermaid Man, unfortunately, there's nothing you can do about that now. But Mr. Krabs, there is something they can do about it, but they chose not to, or they didn't. Whatever the real reasoning behind it, it's money. It ultimately comes down to money.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't think there's been an official statement anywhere, but I do know that Shift, who's like the most prominent speedrunner of the game, I believe he said that the voices being kept original was like he had heard from the developer that was Nickelodeon's choosing. They were the ones who chose not to re-record anything. So it's not that the developer was lazy or anything like that. It was most likely money.
Yeah,
they didn't want to have to pay to re-record everything, or time. But it was most likely that. So,
and Pete of Dawn is actually also talking about if you succeed at a time challenge, sometimes it makes the you failed buzz noise. Interesting. I haven't noticed that, but yeah, no, I mean, they definitely could have done better in the audio department. I don't know. See, that's the thing. I haven't played the original in a few years, and I don't know. I don't think this is a significantly better experience than the original. I just think it's a more convenient way to play. That's ultimately it. And I mean, that's not necessarily a compliment.
Yeah. Another thing that is different is, and this is something I wanted to bring up that throws me off as a veteran, is Patrick's throwing mechanics. You know, like, you can lock onto platforms now. Like, they have spots in the ground that Patrick will automatically throw to, and that's like super disorienting for me as someone who's used to just manually aiming it. I can't. I don't know why I'm struggling with it so bad, but I just can't do the auto lock on thing. I want to be able to just, throw it wherever. And then Sandy's grappling is also very different because in the original, you just press the button, you'd lock on automatically, and then you could rock back and forth, and then you just press A to jump off. In the remake, you have to hold the circle button or A button on Switch or whatever. You have to hold the button down for as long as you're on it, and once you let go, you pop off. And I don't like that change either. I wish it was the original.
Yeah, that messed me up in a few places.
The swinging mechanics are I think that's a flaw. Like, Sandy's swinging is definitely not polished.
Patrick's throw fruit locking on got me into trouble a few times where, like, when you first get when one of the first times you use the throw fruit, there's like ledges that you're supposed to stack the throw fruit, and I threw it up on top of the next throw fruit that you're supposed to use because it just homes onto that for some reason. Okay, well, yeah, I mean, I think that's about it. I would say I'm having fun with it, but I don't think that it's a significant improvement to my memory. If anything, it feels basically, a little better in some places, a little worse in quite a few. But I don't think the game is unplayable, personally. Not that I've experienced. So if you're on the fence about it and you don't want to hunt down a copy of the original, I don't know what the price is on that. It's probably cheaper to just get rehydrated. I would recommend it.
Yeah, I recommend the game as well. Although if you are more of a veteran and you're like super experienced with the game, you may not enjoy it as much. And I think that down the line, I'm going to prefer the original, unless a lot of these small problems get fixed. Because, the original wasn't perfect either, but it seems like the remake has more flaws. Even though it has a shinier coat of paint. But no, I recommend it, and I say anyone who's interested or wants to give it a shot, go for it.
Okay. All right. Well, let's move on to some news.
All right.
All right. First up, we got our Oaxis update. Kuro, do you know anything we don't know about Oaxis? You got any inside scoop?
Nope.
Uh,
I couldn't even
there's-
think of a joke fast enough. It's just, yeah, no, you're not hearing anything.
Yeah, there's your access update. The only thing of note is that Butch privated his Twitter for like a few hours and then unprivated it. I don't know why. Maybe he went to delete some old tweets. That's what sometimes people do when they go to delete things. Or
Yeah, right after tweeting Unshakable, too.
yeah, super
Apparently he
unshakable.
changed
Yep. And then he also hasn't posted anything since Father's Day on Twitter, so
Nope.
he knows there's heat on him.
I don't want to go too much into detail about the steps I'm taking with this right now, but I do want to say that I am going through with pursuing a lawsuit, and I just filled out my court forms today. So once all of the conclusion of that comes through, I'll post another update, but I'm not going to be going step-by-step updates on my Twitter anymore about it.
Yeah, good,
But-
good man. That's exciting.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. And yeah, I've died down about it on Twitter a little bit too, because I don't want to. You know, there's only so much you can do, and there's only so much you can say, and the main thing I wanted to do was just kind of just show the kind of person that Butch and Julianne are, and that they are really into some kind of nutty stuff that they use to justify their everything they do. You know, it's not just that they have these beliefs; it's that they have these beliefs and they use them to deflect criticism. They use them to completely ignore people who have legitimate issues with them, and they use them to spread harmful messages about how anyone can be cured magically, and how autism is something that needs to be cured or can be cured. Like, yeah, and I feel like I've spread it as much as I can through my sphere of influence. So as soon as he does something else crazy, I'm sure I'll tweet about it. But yep.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. We know he's going to continue to do it.
Yeah.
So
The stuff, I mean, I looked a little bit further into his connections with like Andrew Womack and the Bible college that Womack runs and everything. And Womack is a complete like charlatan fraud. His teachings aren't in line with like mainstream Christianity. It's just its own weird offshoot where you give him money and he helps cure you, and you give him money and you go to his school where you learn how to cure other, like, it's some really intensely disturbing stuff. Very anti-gay, very like anti anyone who's not as religious, very putting faith in a human. And basically all of Butch and Julianne's beliefs come from that guy. And I'm not saying that everything they believe in, like everything he believes in, they believe in as well. But I don't know, that there's definitely a lot of suspect things about this guy. But ultimately, it's like, what are we gonna do? Take down a religious cult? Like, there's only so much we can do. But hopefully, this has done a little bit of damage to his reputation, and hopefully, Kuro, I'm rooting for you, man.
thanks. I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we'll just see where that goes. I noticed a jump in views for the video I made.
Ooh.
It's hard to get my videos off the ground if they're not Ben 10 videos, to put it to put it frankly, because of the nature of my channel.
I understand, Kuro.
But like, oh yeah.
I kind of.
But like, recently, I even checked out your videos view too. Like the past 2 or 3 days, like they've kind of been spiking. So I'm hoping this means like the word's really getting out. So yeah.
Yep. I mean, I think one of the most powerful things is just showing that poster where they just say, "Oh yeah, healed of autism, healed of heart disease, healed of cancer." Like, yikes!
Yeah.
You just you need something simple to spread around to get people, because unfortunately, like in your case, Kuro, you're 100% in the right, and you have proof to back things up. But if there's someone out there that really loves Butch and just wants to believe that this is another cancel culture non-controversy being made out of nothing, they don't care to look into it. And that's what's sucky, because there's so many nonsense cancel culture things happening that when legitimate issues are taken up with someone who is actively still doing harmful things, people see it as like, oh, what, you're just hating on someone for something he did years ago. And it's a very different situation, especially for someone who did not apologize or show any remorse and continues to do these things.
Yeah, in fact, I recently got a comment a few hours ago saying, like, straight up, "I don't believe you. I think you're just doing all of this for drama." And I'm
Awful.
like, I feel like I did a very good job, like, showing all the proof.
Yep.
Like, and like I don't know how you can watch the video and like not believe me. Like, you can have your own opinions on whether or not you think it's right or not, but I mean, the fact that people are just denying that he even does these things is baffling.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely true. I mean, again, again, of course, your side of the story is going to be your side of the story. Not that we don't believe you, Kuro, but just of course it's not objective, whatever. But like when Butch refuses to give even his side of anything, it's like, how is that not suspect? How like who are you going to believe? The guy that comes out, makes these claims, shows evidence. You say your side of the story. You don't even rail on anything. You just present as you see it the facts. And then Butch goes on to do absolutely nothing but hide from any sort of criticism, refuse to directly address what you're doing, but then indirectly says things like, critics are jealous and people don't know what they're talking about and no one knows who we really are, and other indirect things that are just nonsense. So, but yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Okay. Let's start with some happy news. So it's been a good week for stuff dropping on streaming. Disney Plus finally got Infinity War, so that's cool. Yeah. HBO Max got the first part of Distant Lands, the Adventure Time special, the first one, the one with BMO. I watched it, and I definitely have opinions, but I'll be saving it for some upcoming streams. And yeah, in other news that like literally just dropped is that Harley Quinn is coming to HBO Max.
Yes, it is.
Oh, it's awesome. So a newsletter was sent out to HBO Max subscribers that recently listed Harley Quinn as being one of the things headed to the platform as coming soon. It's not really clear as if they're going to add a third season or if they're just doing those 2 seasons. But either way, if this means that, DC Universe is one step closer to not existing anymore, I'm happy.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, I feel like Harley Quinn leaving DC Universe is going to be the death of it.
Yeah. That's what it had. It had that and Young Justice, one season of Young Justice. And, no disrespect to DC Universe, but it's like, when there's already a $15 a month service that offers a lot of things, including a lot of DC things, I don't know. It just seems
it's redundant.
Yeah, it seems redundant to make you pay an extra $7. Not even as like a bundle, right? Not like, hey, for a $2 more, you bundle DC Universe in there. It just seems redundant. I think DC Universe should just be a comic streaming service, right? Just be one of those, you pay a certain amount a month, you get access to comics, and leave the video streaming to HBO Max.
Yeah, I think its biggest downfall is it doesn't even have a single DCEU movie on it.
Yeah.
Or anything really to hook it. Like I even remember I was looking at the list of movies about a year ago, and then I looked at it again like maybe a month ago, and they took like half of their movies off. Like they're taking content away, and there's like, I don't know, like 20 movies on here, and then they have like maybe 3 or 4 TV shows that are being made for this service. I just feel like I don't know. I really wanted it to be good, to be honest. Because I'm a DC fan, but yeah.
I had it for a while too. I mean, anyone who watched the recast knows I talked about like the shows on there like every week, like Static Shock, Teen Titans, Batman, the animated series. Like these are great shows. Like what DC Universe had was great shows, but it had like 10 of them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and none of it, and the only new things were Harley Quinn, which is a show that I think is really great, and we'll be getting into that in a little bit. But that's it. It's like that, and then 1 season of Young Justice. They didn't even do another one, right? It was just the 1 season.
No. They're supposed to have another one coming out, but it's probably going to take forever. Like, it's going to take too long. I feel like by the time that it's ready, it's just going to go on HBO Max.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about this every week, but just at least they have to do like an add-on service. If they want to have multiple services, you can, Disney technically has Hulu and Disney, but like you have to at least make financial sense. Not make sense that like, oh yeah, well I go to HBO Max for some DC content and I go to DC Universe for other DC content. Like that doesn't make any sense.
No.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now, and they only have one new thing in development, and it's Bizarro TV, which is some anthology series, but there's like no information on it. And then Swamp Thing they ended, DC Universe All-Star Games they ended, DC Daily will be ending soon,
Yep.
and then we don't know anything about whether or not Harley Quinn's renewed, and Titans was renewed, Young Justice was
I
renewed.
also feel like Harley Quinn is such a kind of like a hit that I think it does it a real disservice to hide it behind. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't really even fit in with the other stuff they have there because of the adult nature of it. Like, does it fit in with Teen Titans? Like, not really.
No. No. No, yeah, I think that it being put on HBO Max is a very good thing for the service and the show.
Yeah.
So
it's probably going to blow up a lot when it's on HBO Max too, because it's like Pi was saying, it's going to be it's a really good show, but it's like has such a limited audience,
Right.
and DC Universe does not have enough to make people want to get it just for that one show.
Streaming service cops are coming.
Oh man.
Okay. All right, and then we got something else to talk about. I just ask the people in the chat, please respectfully talk about this. This is a touchy subject, of course, but this week, Netflix and Hulu have been pulling down select episodes of TV shows, mostly NBC shows, but also It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, that feature the use of a character putting black or brown face paint on in a way that is either resembling or is just directly a reference to blackface. And there's a lot that's happening with this. I want to make it very clear that blackface is wrong. It's bad. And I'm 100% for the entertainment industry being better about diversity and sensitivity and casting and everything about it going forward. But I don't agree with the idea of removing whole episodes because they include jokes about blackface. Now, you can find these jokes offensive. I'm not saying they aren't offensive. Some of them in the Scrubs episodes are a little bit uncomfortable. But I don't think it's right for these services to tell us adults that, no, you are not allowed to see this anymore because we deem it offensive and we deem it as wrong. There's a lot going on with this. Some of these shows, like Scrubs, have had the creators, like Bill Lawrence, Tina Fey, in the case of 30 Rock. I don't know if Dan Harmon said anything about this, but I know in those cases, it was those creators that came out and also said, they are totally cool with these episodes being gone. But like, the thing is that these episodes are just like gone now. Like, they didn't even add in a message or a numbering system that tells you, hey, this episode is missing. No, if you watch Community, you have no idea that you'll be missing that episode of Community. Because it is it's just a complete cover-up, essentially. I would be on board with adding a disclaimer saying, hey, this features blackface. And if you're uncomfortable with it, even in a form that makes fun of racists, please be advised that's in this episode. I think I might even be okay with editing it out of some episodes. For instance, The Office had one small joke in an episode, and they just trimmed the joke, and they left the episode up. I'm totally cool with publicly coming out and saying, these were wrong, these are insensitive, these are whatever these creators feel like now. But I just think it is patently wrong and an erasure of history, and I think it is also treating the Black community like it has one voice that is unified, an agreement about how you should handle jokes like this in the past, when in reality, people have differing opinions. Some people think that, no, it's not okay to even use this in a joke. Some people think that in the context of making fun of racist people, it's perfectly fine. But not everyone is on the same page, and I think the entertainment industry acting as if everyone just universally agrees that we should just all completely remove these episodes, and everyone's cool with that, and that's the right, most progressive thing to do, I think is fundamentally wrong, and I think it's cheap and easy. I think it's difficult for networks, for entertainment industry to come out and actively hire more people of color and of other races. I think it's difficult for them to make real positive changes. So rather than do that, they want to do the simple things as just saying, we'll get rid of that episode. Now, mind you, these networks aren't losing any money for this. It's not like they say, well, we got to take down Community off Netflix because it has a joke we don't feel is sensitive and we don't want to support the show because of that. No. They didn't do that. That would make them lose money. All they did was take away an episode or two of these shows. And again, if you are offended by these jokes, I completely understand. I'm not saying that I'm not. I'm just saying the way they go about handling these things, it feels like just blatant censorship, and it feels like an erasure. Instead of learning, instead of using these and saying, hey, these jokes are culturally insensitive, we would never tell these jokes today. Let's use this as a springboard to talk about how we can better make jokes and do things in a way that is sensitive and friendly to all races. No, they would rather just pretend like these never happened. And that upsets me so much.
Trying to erase the past is only going to lead to it being repeated in the future. You can't change what has already happened. You can change what will. And I'm with Pi in the sense that, yeah, it is a form of censorship. If we take away things that happen in the past because they're deemed morally unacceptable by today's standards, when it may not have been seen that way in the past, you're trying to remove something as if it never happened. And there's this thing called the grandfather clause, which I think is somewhat applicable here in the sense that, I don't think it's right to pretend that these episodes don't exist, because that is trying to cover up mistakes instead of owning up to them. And like Pi said, I think having a disclaimer saying, hey, this was made in a different time period. It was viewed in a different light compared to how it is now. We do not believe in what is shown and depicted in this.
Even just saying,
isn't there something? I was gonna say, isn't there something like that for the original Dumbo?
Yes.
On Disney Plus, didn't they do that?
Disney Plus has little notifications. They didn't do it with a lot of things, but they did. And the other thing too is that, remember, again, these are for adults. The Community is an adult show. 30 Rock is an adult. Like, this is when it comes to kids shows, it's a little more different. There's a little more nuance because you don't want kids to pick up and repeat the behavior. But there's no way someone wasn't racist before and then we'll watch an episode of Community and then decide, oh man, racism, that looks like a fun thing to do.
Yeah.
I don't want to take over.
I feel like it draws a little bit too much attention to it. Mm-hmm. Because I mean, the fact that we're even talking about it right here just kind of proves the point, where it's just like trying to remove all of it. Like, I'll admit, at first I kind of understood it a little bit more, in a sense that I don't feel like they're trying to pretend it doesn't happen, because you can obviously access the episodes on DVDs that are out there, or like illegally or whatnot. So it's kind of just their way of showing they're not trying to represent it anymore. But I do like, I mean, hearing you now, like, that was my opinion before. Like, I do agree, like, yeah, maybe they should just add a disclaimer or something, because it does kind of seem like they're trying to cover things up. And in fact, I even went back and checked out the Office episode. And maybe I'm just a little bit too ignorant on the character Dwight is playing, but I don't think this is blackface. I think he just has like dirt on his face because he's supposed to be playing like a dirty character, because he's got like twigs in his head and everything.
That's not the joke. The joke is well, I mean, that is a joke, but afterwards there was a scene where Dwight was going to have one of the people that works for him come in actually in blackface, and you see the guy like walking off disappointedly because Dwight's like, no, we're not doing this, we can't do
right
this.
Okay, I remember that now. All right.
Yes.
Okay.
And I do, I want to use the Community episode as an example, because in the episode, the full context, and again, you find offense to this or don't, it's completely up to you, but the full context is Chang shows up to the study group for a D&D session. By the way, the episode's about how the gang, particularly the main character, started an insulting nickname towards a guy and made the guy contemplate suicide because of it. It's a very like mental health aware episode, and it's also a great episode, honestly. But but regardless, so Chang shows up dressed as an elf, a dark elf, and he does it completely. His face is completely painted black. He shows up with gray hair. And when he shows up, all the characters are like, oh, and then Shirley says, so we're just going to ignore that hate crime over there? They point out that it is an insensitive thing for Chang to be doing. Again, I'm not saying that makes the joke okay, but it's clearly not just that a few years ago, Dan Harmon decided to insert a blackface character into his show. They made a joke about it.
And they're not making fun of the fact that, they're not making fun of it. They're explicitly saying, this is terrible, don't do this, And I think that's important because context definitely matters in situations like these. Like, obviously, if you're looking at something from 50 years ago and it portrays the character in a very derogatory manner, that's completely unacceptable. But again, everyone's different. I think acknowledging that something is bad isn't bad.
Yeah.
Because it's directly saying, hey, don't do this. Don't be that guy. Yeah. It's in a way, it's somewhat educational. Like, yeah, this is wrong. Don't do this because you look like a fool and you're horrible, And I think that's a good thing, But again, perspectives, some people may still find it offensive, and that's completely okay.
I'm a white guy, so I don't I don't claim to take offense or not take offense to this stuff. I believe in listening to people who are actually affected by this and letting them decide whether it's offensive or not. And from what I've seen, it seems like the opinions are mixed. There are some people who think, even in the context of a joke of these scenes, that it's just, just don't do it. This is just a line that you don't cross. And I don't, I don't agree or disagree. Like, it's just, I understand that perspective. And then there's people that are just like, it's a joke. These jokes are good because they make fun of racists, and of course there's also like other things about this controversy that are weird in the sense that, like, on Community, there's a character named Pierce Hawthorne played by Chevy Chase. That character is super racist, like legitimately just a racist character. And most of the jokes are made at his expense. But like, if you're going to remove racism or anything that could be perceived as such from Community, you got to get rid of all the good seasons of Community and just leave 5 and 6. I mean, there's an episode where Shirley makes fun of, is kind of belittling to Annie, the Jewish character. Like, so these examples are okay, but this line, and the only reason I bring this up is just to show that, like, look, there is no clear line. No one knows the correct way, because people aren't a monolith. People have different opinions. So I think that being aware, and I think there's nothing wrong with the disclaimer. And to what you were saying earlier, Kuro, I think even if they removed the episodes but left a disclaimer, left like a banner in the place of the episode saying, Community episode season 2, episode 13 will not be seen. We will not show it. It depicts racism, and we do not, we don't stand by it. Even just a thing. But ultimately, it is a cover up because right now everyone's talking about it. But what's going to happen in a few months or a few years, right? What's going to happen when new people watch the show? Am I going to have to look on every Netflix show I watch from now on? Am I going to have to look and be like, is there any episodes missing from this? Is there anything Netflix doesn't want me to see? Yeah.
It does seem like we're getting to that point.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think it's like, trying to change/hide history just comes off the wrong way.
Yeah.
It's important to learn from it rather than pretend it never happened.
Right. And as we all know, removing episodes from DVD prints, it's not something that companies won't do. It happened to The Simpsons, and it could happen to anything else. So it's just a little bit of a scary slope. And also, I mean, I wanted to talk about it in the context of streaming in terms of like, yeah, man, this makes me not trust streaming as much. Physical releases, they got their perks.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta say, but
to end this, I just wanted to say, I think that instead of trying to remove the past, I think it's important to change the future. And instead of trying to pretend these things never happen, I think Pi even suggested this earlier. I say hire more people, expand in that sense instead of just swiping it, brushing the past under the rug.
But that costs money. That's the thing. Companies will do anything to support these things aside from actually hurt their bottom line. That's the sucky thing about all of this, because it doesn't. What does this hurt their bottom line? Nothing, right? Nothing. But actually, casting more diverse people, even if they have to be unknown people because there isn't as many people well known, well established of color in Hollywood, that's going to cause, financial hurt, because a lot of movies are based upon marketing recognizable names and faces. And so it should be done. It absolutely should be done. There's a very sad reason why white people are the predominant thing in Hollywood. But that's going to hurt the bottom line. So of course companies are going to be more hesitant to do things that actually could make a difference. And that sucks.
Mhm.
It sucks.
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, very open to, listening and hearing other perspectives on this.
Not to open up a new can of worms, but how do you feel about the whole movement of only people of color playing characters of people of color? Like, I've seen a lot of voice actors stepping down.
Yeah, I know that's been going on. I don't know. It's
I feel like there's
It's
no
definitely-
right way to say I think it's unnecessary, because there's
yeah.
tons of great points that you really can't argue with. But at the end of the day, if you start looking into it further, like, what about the people of color playing white characters? What about this race playing that race? Like, are we just going to start assigning this race can only play this race? What about monsters and stuff like that? It's gonna create like an endless.
not that much.
Sorry.
No, yeah, I meant like actual monsters. Like, what race gets to
Yeah.
play a monster or a vampire or something? It's like it's gonna start an endless domino chain, and I feel like people aren't seeing that.
See, you bring that. I'm glad you brought that up, because I feel like that's counterintuitive in the sense that now we're restricting people to only what they,
Mhm.
We're restricting them. You can only play this because you are this. You can't play this because you are not this. And it's like, I don't know. That's kind of reverse segregation.
think-
Well, not segregation, but reverse.
Kind of supporting the issue in a way.
Yeah, exactly.
I think part of the problem
You
is
know?
that I think the reason why this happens is because if you don't force companies to do this, then they won't cast people that are non-white. And I mean, you know what I mean? Like, not that that's a great argument, but just that, like, anyway, it's complicated. And I mean, Kuro, you do animation stuff. You won't know that, like, the reason why The Simpsons has been able to go on for so long is because they have like 5 people voicing everyone. If you suddenly need to have a different person to play each race on The Simpsons, either the budget is going to get shot, or you're not going to see people, minorities on The Simpsons, because, well, you can't play them anymore. So, not that that's a great reason, but I'm just saying that, like, I don't know, it's complicated. It's really complicated, and
Yeah.
it sucks. The Simpsons should end. They should just end so they don't have to, it's different with them because they're a show that has had this cast, and no matter what you do, you're recasting a lot of iconic characters. And maybe it should be done or maybe it shouldn't, but it's going to draw a lot of heat, and the show should really just end.
I can't even imagine like The Simpsons is still pulling in like the money and the ratings to justify it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I don't know.
I feel like
I
it's
know.
just like another show now, so there's no reason for it to keep going, especially after, what was it, 27 seasons or something? I don't know. Maybe
Merchandise.
30.
Oh, it's over 30.
Even merchandise. Like, they could just stop the
Yeah.
show, and I guarantee you they still got another decade's worth of merch sales. I mean,
Mhm.
I've bought stuff
Mhm.
from like Back to the Future. They haven't made a new movie in 30 years. I just bought the complete like series on DVD with bonus features and everything. Like, the Simpsons merch will last like a very long time. They don't need to make any more episodes.
Yeah, and also I think people need to understand the difference between like a lead and a background character. Like, you have, I'm just gonna use a silly example, but you have the Italian chef guy from The Simpsons, who's just an Italian stereotype. He's had maybe like 30 lines in the entire series, right? Like, no one cares because that's not real representation anyway. The difference is that it has to happen where it counts. You have to have leads, right, of color. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that's the correct way to do it. If you're going to have a show about a certain culture, represent that culture correctly and have the leads actually be those
Yes.
people. I think that's where it matters.
Yes.
But saying that, like, Hank Azaria can't play, really incredibly minor characters on The Simpsons, that feels like you're splitting hairs, and you're going to do something that just the show will not financially back up. But I don't
I
know.
also feel like it starts to annoy the people who might not be against it, but not in full support of like these new like, well, not new, but it's getting a lot of attention. Like these progressional movements, because there's a lot of like real stuff happening in this world, and like when we're starting to like do things like, oh, now we're taking episodes off Netflix, now this actor can't play this actor, it's kind of just making people upset with the whole idea, and it's overshadowing like the legitimate problems. And I can't help
Yeah.
but feel like it's just it's taking the attention away from what matters, like none of it's
Yeah.
all media
Yes.
and entertainment. Like there's people out there getting shot, like let's focus on that.
Right. I mean, representation is absolutely important, and what happens in entertainment does trickle down and affect how people see other people, unfortunately. Or fortunately, sometimes it can help normalize things like the LGBT community. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot more serious things to go after here than like, a YouTuber making an insensitive joke like 10 years ago that they are incredibly sorry for.
Yeah, but the more we take this kind of stuff serious, or I guess like the media or networks or whatever, the more they take that kind of stuff seriously, it's just going to make the whole topic exhausted, and the stuff that needs to get taken seriously won't get the spotlight anymore.
What OK says, we'll say it again. If a white person voices a minority character, an actor of that minority group can be robbed of a role. You're not wrong. I mean, you're absolutely not wrong. But again, what if it's just like a background character? I mean, a lot of times,
Yeah, like what if
if they have
what
to
if
bring
it's
in
this one-off character,
Like a one-line
that shows
character
up
or
for-
something.
Yeah,
if they have to
exactly,
bring
that's what
someone in to do it, then they just won't do it. They just won't have that background character be that minority because you can't play it anymore. There is a little bit of like industry stuff, reasons behind things. I ultimately really good intentions and an actual good faith effort to help make things better for people of color is what needs to be seen. That doesn't mean it has to be a blanket rule of we have to do this way and that. No, I think it just means that you have to be making the honest effort, even if it hurts the bottom line, to be more representative,
Mhm. Yeah.
So, okay.
And again, it's the distinction between background characters and leads is important, because like a main character definitely gets way more attention than somebody who shows up in one scene.
Yeah, a one scene wonder is not going to be any kid's hero. It's not
Exactly.
like so.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you guys for being respectful. And that's ultimately what we try to be, we strive for. I'm 100% open to hearing other people's opinions on this. I have my opinions on censorship and everything, but I completely admit that this is a complicated issue. But I just want to see real substantial changes being made, not just things that, I don't know. Yeah, like Kuro said, kind of delegitimize the issue. It gives people ammo, right? It's like, oh, well, now they're taking away our community episodes. Yosemite Sam is a racist in my mind.
Well, like I even see people like, pointing out some of the ludicrousness in the chat. Like Ian JQ shouldn't voice any gems because he's not a gem. Tara Strong shouldn't voice a pony because she's not a pony, And it's kind of like, I get that that's obviously sarcasm, but it does kind of highlight a bit of the, controversy.
And I think the bottom line is give people of color, give minorities more roles in general,
Yes.
and then the little details don't strictly matter, right? Like,
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
okay.
Bring in more voices.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah. All right. Well, again, thanks everyone for being cool. Okay. So are we ready to talk about Harley Quinn?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's go.
Okay, so Harley Quinn is a show that came to the DC Universe streaming service. Had 2 seasons that aired kind of close to each other, to be honest. I think the first season ended in like December or January. And then the second season just immediately came out. But yeah, it is an adult series. I want to make that very clear. There's incredibly excessive violence, cursing, and discussion of adult subject matter. To put it lightly.
Yes, I love the discussion of adult subjects.
Yeah, like taxes.
Yeah, man, that episode where Harley Quinn does taxes, that's a crazy episode. Oh man. But yeah, no, it's a really, really cool series. It's basically it's kind of like your it's like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's basically like your typical DC cartoon, except it's incredibly adult and just really interesting and really funny. What are your guys' general thoughts?
I would say the like any show really, like the first couple of episodes, I wouldn't say are bad, but it takes a bit for it to like really get going.
Mm-hmm.
But and I still think the whole series is enjoyable. I don't think it has a bad episode per se.
Yeah.
I'd say even like the worst episode is still like pretty good and enjoyable, and it's got the humor. But yeah, I did not expect it to be as good as it would be. I expected it to be completely just all raunchy comedy, which I can get behind if it's done like not too like untastefully, but it does make you like the characters. It does have some arcs in there. It does have a lot of world building to it. It's like I was impressed with like how much the show really had.
Yeah, I absolutely adore this show. I think it's great. It was a pleasant surprise because, I mean, I know I had heard it was good, but like I didn't realize it was this good. I really I really appreciate the way it handles a lot of mature subjects.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely appreciate the way it depicts Harley dealing with the relationship she had with Joker and how she overcomes it and struggles with it and things like that.
Well,
there's definitely a lot of nuance here.
Oh yeah, no, sorry, just real quick. Yeah, Kuro, I mean, you something kind of just clicked in the sense that, yeah, I mean, I enjoy a raunchy show every once in a while, but I think the difference between something like Harley Quinn and Family Guy, and the same reason I like BoJack, is that even though BoJack and Harley Quinn are very explicit and can make a lot of really raunchy, crash jokes, there is real underlying themes of serious issues. I mean, Harley was in an abusive relationship, and the show doesn't shy away from that. It amplifies it by making them supervillains, and I think that I think that there's something really meaningful behind all of the raunchy jokes. We meet Harley's family in one episode, and they're horribly abusive to her.
Yeah,
like. There's also a very pro-feminist message all across the series. I mean, one of the main characters, he's a villain.
Oh, Dr. Psycho.
Dr. Psycho,
yeah.
Yes. The thing that like any other character brings up about him is that he used an incredibly insensitive word to describe Wonder Woman. And even amongst villains, this word is just like, no, dude, you don't do that. Like,
you can't do that. That's horrible. And they do not let him
No.
lay down. He is constantly reminded.
How
and it's
spoilery
great.
can we talk? about it?
Not yet. We'll give a spoiler
All
distinction.
right, I was gonna say even like a character you wouldn't expect calls him out on it, and it's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And see, it's funny. It's very, very funny too. It's not a I'm gonna sit here and lecture you kind of show. It's a they just I don't know, they show these themes in really interesting ways. I mean, Gordon he's like an alcoholic deadbeat wash up. And you think that that's just gonna be a joke, right? That the show doesn't take anything seriously, and when you first meet him, it's like, oh, Commissioner Gordon is like the opposite of how we're usually used to seeing him. But no, he actually has an arc as the series goes on, and it's really satisfying to watch.
Yeah.
Even Batman, I mean, it's a different Batman in some ways, but in other ways, despite the show being kind of a crazy version of Gotham, Batman is still Batman.
Yeah.
Also, Harley's great. Like, especially after her recent movie and the other Suicide Squad. Like, I was kind of beginning to get the feeling that no one understood what Harley Quinn was and thought she was some sort of like weird mid-2000s goth emo OMG so random LOL rar character.
Personified.
Yes, like Deadpool if he was a hot topic person.
Yeah.
And that's a really lame way to write her when in her original source material, Batman the Animated Series, she was a really interesting character. I mean, she was in an abusive relationship. They never shy away from that idea. And Harley has severe issues and yeah, I mean, and the way Joker treats her and everything. Like, I don't know, they do something interesting with that. Not that she's this like LOL hot topic, Bay hits me, but he secretly loves me. uh kind of person. And this show really, from the first episode, comes out of the gate and is like, yeah, no, this Harley Quinn is not that Harley Quinn. This is the original Harley Quinn. This is the one that was in a horrible relationship with the Joker. And here's what it's like if Harley's gonna finally snap out of it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one thing I do really like about the show is it does cover a lot of like sensitive topics in that way, but I don't think the show ever got preachy with it at all.
No.
Like I never felt like it was trying to teach me something, or it was like trying to make some type of statement, and that's what the whole episode is really about. It feels like they're using these scenarios and topics that people usually shy away from or don't take too seriously, and they're building stories around them to sort of show you what it would be like. I mean, if they weren't cartoon characters and whatnot, but like it's good. Like you like, it's not preachy, but you get the message just by watching the episode. There's no like wrap up or anything, or one takeaway line or something. It's just really good to have those kinds of newer stories.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean, I feel like this is something. Again, there's plenty of raunchy shows out there. You know, if you look at like 90% of adult animation, you could find a show where the character is like a hard drinking, hard fighting, cursing, like, you know, raunch fest. Like that's most adult cartoons, unfortunately. Not all of them, but a lot of them. But I don't know. Seeing that combined with like the DC universe was something that I did not expect.
Yeah, I like half the time when you're not really focused on the characters that would be like the main players in DC, like the Justice League or all of their villain counterparts and whatnot, you'd forget it's a DC show to begin with.
Yeah, it doesn't feel anything. I mean, again, in some ways it feels like a Justice League type action show, but in a lot of other ways it doesn't at all. There is Should we get into spoilers or should we just keep talking general?
I'd like to talk spoilers just so I don't have to worry.
All right.
I'm fine to get into spoilers.
All right, guys, we're gonna go full spoilers here. So, just if anyone still wants to see Harley Quinn, we'll try not to just reveal random plot points for no reason. But just tune away now if you want to be not spoiled. But yeah, so the first season of the show, it's basically Harley wants to prove herself as a villain. And of course, this is all like, it's basically like she had a breakup and she's been nothing but a girlfriend for so long that she doesn't have anything else in her life, and she wants to prove that she doesn't need the Joker. And I think that's a really great arc. That's an arc that makes complete sense for Harley. That's an arc that I think a lot of people can relate to. Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I will say that like Kuro mentioned, the first few episodes were, I mean, they're not bad, but it didn't immediately click with me. But the episode where she puts the episode after she puts the crew together and she's trying to find a nemesis, I thought that was really where things started to take a turn. And, obviously all the jokes with Robin being this little kid.
I really enjoyed that.
Amazing.
Yes.
They're brilliant. It's hilarious. That was where it like clicked with me. And I'm like, okay, I'm invested in this. And to see her go after like, this typical tropey, superhero, supervillain stuff where it's like, I need a nemesis. I need an enemy. I need to get in the Legion of Doom. I need to do this and that and blah, 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 and follow all these steps. And then it kind of twists them around and kind of breaks them in a few ways. I really do enjoy, the way it puts a spin on things. And to see Harley continuously go back to the Joker, it makes it feel more real. It's not just a one and done, I'm over him thing. It shows her struggle because, she's like, well, maybe I can justify it. Maybe he's really not all that bad. Now that I'm proving myself, maybe he'll accept me and I can go back. And that one episode where she and the Joker get together at the restaurant and they talk about the tower and then they go, work together and they're in the helicopter. I thought that was a very pivotal moment of the season. And I really do think that overall Harley just really it really made me appreciate the character more, because before this show, like, I obviously knew of her. I never saw the movies. I just know her from the original series, and she never really stood out to me, but like this is painted her in a new light for me completely, and I definitely am more interested in the character as a result. So
Can we talk about Bane?
yes.
He's a great
Bane's the
character.
best.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the thing about the show, is that it takes, I don't know, it's got this really great tone where like sometimes the show can get pretty serious, or at least like it plays it straight, right? Where like Batman is like super good at his job and everything. It's not that everything is a joke, but then other times they'll take some DC characters and just turn them into a complete joke. And Bane doesn't get any respect. he doesn't get a real chair at the Legion of Doom. Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh man. He talks about like blowing up a Starbucks because like the one barista's not nice to him. Like, oh man. No one treats him with any amount of respect, and that's pretty great.
Do you think I want to be credit card paying man? I have dreams too.
You're welcome. There you go.
I want a Bane redemption by the end of the series, though, because he doesn't seem like that bad a guy. He's just trying to help, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh my god, he's
Yeah,
great.
yeah. And season 1 does a great thing. It builds, you know, it kind of like starts off with her having this mission statement, and then she finds a crew, and then you know, she wants to find a nemesis and figure out how they're going to become like the #1 crew, and they got to have a lair. Like they kind of like take you through every step of it, and then eventually she gets into the Legion of Doom, which is what she wants, but then realizes that's not really what she wants, and in reality, she basically loses everything. And yeah, and I mean, even some of like the last episode felt like it could have just been in a Batman thing, like the Joker getting his personality erased, and like the tower coming down, and like all this crazy stuff that's happening. It feels very true to still being a DC action show, even though it's got a lot of jokes in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say the second season definitely felt like it was delving more into the DC roots. I think they tried to really make it like focus on Harley and the core crew in the first season to like make it apparent that this is indeed Harley Quinn's show. It's not just like Harley Quinn in Gotham and whatnot. But once we accepted that, they really told some great stories. Like that episode where it flashed back to when Harley was still working at Arkham Asylum. Joker looked very Dark Knight kind of Heath Ledger-ish. We got to see Batman and Joker kind of confront each other before Two-Face had the whatever accident happened to him in this continuity. It was nice like seeing all that stuff and really getting to play around with the characters.
Right, the flashback episode. Yeah, and I mean, that's the thing too. Yeah, there is a real risk when you include like Batman in the series that the you know, people will want to be like, well, who cares what's happening to Harley Quinn? Like, let's see what Batman's doing. And don't get me wrong, the Batman in this universe is pretty awesome. But no, Harley, she pulls it, man. She does a great job. Even if you aren't someone who cares about Harley Quinn before this, I think this is just like the perfect ethos for the character. This is like the de facto Harley Quinn media, in my opinion. I love Batman the Animated Series, but like this is it, man. If you want to know what this character is and what they're about, and who they are apart from the Joker, and I mean it's great because it plays with that too. It's like, who is Harley Quinn? Is she someone who doesn't care about anything and just goes around kissing people? Or is she someone who does care a little bit more than she lets on? And I think over the course of it, you see, yes, she still commits extreme cases of violence, but she definitely has much more of a moral code than a lot of the other villains in the universe.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so which season did you guys like more, 1 or 2?
Ooh,
I liked season 2 more.
I liked season 1 more when I was first watching season 2. Then season 2, like as it was going, I liked it like 10 times more. But right around the ending, I started feeling like, well, season 1 just seemed like it had a better handle on itself. Season 2, I don't know, it felt very up and down for me. Like the stuff that was good was better than season 1, but the stuff that was not as good was like, like the whole King Shark becoming like the underwater king and getting married, and that whole subplot of that episode.
Okay.
I felt like for a majority of season 2, they just did not know what to do with all these side characters and just kept coming up with random scenarios for them. And I was really.
To be fair, that that underwater song was my least favorite
Same.
part of the whole
Yeah.
whole
Yeah,
song.
100%.
I was like that it just feels so out of
Right?
place, like compared to everything else. I'm like, are we really doing this?
Dude,
I was not fond of
Dude,
it.
I was excited because I'm like, oh, you're gonna do a parody of Under the Sea. This is gonna be funny. And then it's literally just like, we poop where we want under the sea for like 30 more lines.
Mhm.
Like it's just one joke.
And that's the whole
Yeah,
joke.
that's it.
That's the whole thing. Even after the song, they continue to reference
Yep.
it. And the last thing you see is, I don't know. I'm just
Yeah.
No, that's fine. No, that was my least favorite. Another thing I wasn't particularly fond of is the whole cringy alt-right guys in the basement thing. Do you guys remember that? In the beginning of one of the episodes.
where they're
the closest the show ever gets to being preachy is that they basically make fun of like the kind of dude bros that wouldn't watch the show because it's about a girl.
Oh, right. Yeah, that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like they only made that strictly so that they can clip that part of the episode out and put it on Twitter.
Yeah, it didn't really have anything to do with the actual episode, I don't think, other than
No, it was just an intro and outro bit, but it didn't actually have anything to do
Yeah.
with what happened
Yeah.
in the episode.
I
And
mean,
it
I
looked extra, sorry to cut you off, but
Yeah.
it looked extra bad when they had like a character wear a release the Snyder Cut shirt
oh
with
god.
a bunch of fans, and then the very next week or so, the Snyder Cut is actually getting released. So it's like, oh well, that joke is automatically dated, and it's going to be part of that episode forever now. But
Yeah. I mean, I it's not that I don't agree with the sentiments. Like, dude bros that wouldn't watch this show because she's a girl are stupid and sexist. But like, you're stupid to their level, Harley Quinn. You don't need this. You're better than this. You have a show and you're great, and you can present your messages in a funny and amusing way, not in a let's have just dumb dudes begin the episode.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's only in one episode, thankfully.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, you're right, Philip. That's the episode where Harley didn't appear and it was focused on Batman. The point being is that it was what dude bros wanted to see from the series or whatever.
yeah, and it's like all the stuff they were having those characters say, I did see people legitimately saying online in forums and stuff. But I feel like when the show itself references the like, I wouldn't say toxic fans because if they're saying that, they're probably not fans of the show. But
yeah,
I don't know. It just kind of makes the case worse for them.
and let's not forget too, this isn't anything clever of inserting characters into the show where they can, mock and deride them for being stupid and having, dumb, shallow opinions. This is literally two bros on a couch sitting there, point blank being like, yeah, hey, we're sexist dirtbags. Like, I'm not gonna watch the Harley Quinn show, and it's just like, come on, you can do better. You can
Yeah.
Yeah, it's exactly. It felt like Teen Titans Go. Thank you, Rubber Hose. It did feel like Teen Titans Go, and it's exactly the same sort of thing that I roll my eyes at with that show. It's like, you know what? You're a successful show, Harley Quinn. You don't need to respond to idiots out there who wouldn't watch this show for stupid reasons. Like, you don't need to. You're better.
Now that I think about it, season 2 came out 3 months after season 1, right? So it was probably already made, which means all these episodes were in production before it was aired. So do you think they made all of that before, like those two scenes?
Preemptive strike.
Yeah, like to just be like, oh, people are going to be saying this, or do you think like they saw people saying that and then slapped those on at the beginning and the end of the Batman episode?
I don't know. I mean, it's very possible.
Yeah, I feel because I feel like if they wrote that scene before the show even came out, then that's just kind of
That's just a
yeah.
scene.
And like they were right, but at the same time, it's like it kind of takes away from your own integrity. Like you're trying to be the one on the high horse, but you're also kind of playing their games too.
Right. Yeah. So that was that and the Under the Sea moments were probably my least favorite moments in the entire series. But otherwise, yeah. And I was so pleasantly surprised with what they did with Gordon. Like I thought Gordon was hilarious as just washed up loser. But it's cool that they decided to develop him a little bit. And I like that they really seem to be throwing everyone into this. Like there's Batgirl, there's Robin, and I think there's a reference to Nightwing too. I don't remember if Nightwing shows up.
There's a reference to Jason Todd.
They reference Jason.
But there's got to be. I mean, Nightwing's there. Like, there's no way he had Jason and
because it's Damian. It's Damian.
Without Dick Grayson.
Right. And then there's all these villains, and even in like the last episode, like Livewire is there, and I don't think she's even had a line in the show, but she's there.
Yeah.
Just
Santana was there as a voiceless cameo too for an episode.
Who was?
Zatanna.
Oh, right, yeah. It's weird. She's in it twice, in an important role, kind of, but then she doesn't speak. So I feel like they're saving her for something.
Yeah, that was it was so weird that they didn't talk.
Yeah, I liked Dude Bro Aquaman.
He was great. It makes me wonder why he didn't show up with the rest of the Justice League though, because like they have the character, but I don't know.
Point. Yeah.
I did like everything they did with the Justice League. I felt like the only one that really kind of got to me was seeing Superman sort of, played around with. But then I was thinking, am I really going to have a problem with Superman and not all the other characters they're doing this to? Like they could do what they want. It's a new universe, but I've never seen Superman like that.
Everyone has a certain level of like comedy writing in them. Like again, Batman is still Batman. He's still hyper competent, but then there'll be jokes about like him and Alfred like bickering over like Alfred's like, you can just tell the computer to do that. You don't have to type it all in. Like, or you don't have to tell me, sir. I can see it. It's right. Like, there's still comedy bits while him being very, very Batman-y. Yeah, Green Lantern and the Flash did just randomly leave when they got freed. I mean, the Flash had to go power up or something, I think. I don't really know anything about the Flash, but he seemed like he really needed to get back to some sort of laboratory.
And probably just the Iris. I don't know.
Yeah, and then so here's the thing. One of the things about Harley Quinn is that very popular interpretations of the character are that she's gay, particularly with Poison Ivy. And I feel like there was probably like a small but vocal amount of people who were upset that like they weren't in a relationship in the first season. I don't know, but yeah, clearly that was the plan for the long game. And I felt that was very tastefully done. I mean, I hate love triangles, and romance subplots can get really draggy, but I don't know. I thought they did a really good job with having Harley and Ivy kind of struggle with their sexuality and then kind of come to grips with it. And I don't know, like, and something really important is that I feel like giving Kite Man a really good speech at the end about how hurt he was and how really Ivy could have just been honest with him. It's not about, her sexuality. It's about that she didn't treat him right, and she used him and clearly they weren't meant for each other. And she knew it a long time ago and she didn't admit to it. And I like the fact that they didn't just kind of like cut the guy out because LOL, they're gay. So, I guess he has no feelings anymore. Like I feel like they really tastefully, respectfully did it. And it didn't feel like they were just throwing it in because people wanted to see it. It felt like this was something that they really thoroughly developed throughout the season. And it makes sense. I mean, Harley's whole thing is she comes from an abusive relationship. So she's going to have issues getting into a new relationship. And Ivy's thing is that she's very closed off and introverted. And of course, she's going to have trouble with it. So, I feel like they really developed it well. And it ended in the perfect place. Like
I was gonna say, I liked everything right up until the very end. Like, I felt like I don't know. Maybe it's just because the way it seemed like it seemed like they were trying to wrap things up, like they just in case they didn't get a season 3. But I feel like if they knew for sure they were gonna get a season 3, they wouldn't have wrapped everything up immediately like that. Because I feel like there should have at least been another episode or so with Ivy and I guess like Harley and Kite Man kind of dealing with the downfall of the whole wedding, because it kind of seemed like Kite Man flew off and then Ivy's like, well, I guess I could be with Harley now, and then they literally drive off into the sunset together, and I was like, well, that was fast.
Yeah, but I think if we did get a third season, and I think we probably will, it's gonna. I feel like it'll go into issues. Like I don't think
maybe they did rush into it or something, and I don't know. But like, it's not to say I disagree with the pairing. I just felt like, wow, that was literally just okay. Mm-hmm. But
I mean, I think it was kind of inevitable, the two of them pairing up in the finale, because if not, it kind of presents this like, I don't know. I don't think they want to send the message that like, if you're gay, you should just hide it and get married to. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I feel like they really, if they wanted to nail home a positive message, they had to have those characters get together by the end of the season. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, considering that's where they were having them lead, like, because if I feel like if they didn't do that and they did, have Ivy just marry Kite Man and they kind of suppress it, I feel like that's making it look
and especially because
worse.
that's where the show could have ended, right? Like
Yeah.
that would have been a really sad message for everyone. Also,
And when Ivy first got with Kite Man, I didn't really understand why they were together in the first place. It kind of just seemed so random.
Right. That's the thing. It
Mhm.
I mean, there isn't really a lot of hints that Ivy likes Harley in the first season. I would say, more so the other way around. But you do get the feeling from the very beginning that, like, yeah, Kite Man and Ivy are not like this amazing couple. It feels like Kite Man has some endearing quality that allows Ivy to open up, and it seems like since she is such a closed off person, she's probably confusing like actually having a friend with being in a relationship. And Harley, Harley made some great points too about how Harley is willing to go and do like eco-terrorism and all sorts of other crazy stuff that Kite Man just doesn't really seem that interested in. Also, thank you for the super chat, Bacon Toasty. We will answer your question in a little bit when we get to the Q&A section. Thank you. How'd
you feel about Darkseid showing up? Now that we're talking spoilers.
Well, it's DC, so sooner or later, right? Like you got to hit.
Yeah.
Like Lex Luthor, Joker, Darkseid. Yeah, I mean, I feel
Darkseid like did not know anything, or at least like didn't care about the Earth whatsoever. So I wonder if he's even met the Justice League.
That's a good point. He probably hasn't.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's funny because the show is kind of sort of, if you've ever seen the movie Dr. Horrible Sing-Along Blog.
It's been way too long, but I did see that one.
I mean, it's basically that where she really wants to get into this league, but her morality, she's not really sure where she lands. And basically, much like the main character in that movie, I think that Harley uses her villainy as an escape for having to deal with her real feelings. Like she feels pushed further into it because when Ivy doesn't return the feelings, what does she do? She jumps right into, we're gonna do some crazy take over the world plot. Like, let's do it. And that's kind of really interesting, right? That like you really wonder what Harley's life would have been like if she didn't meet Joker. She obviously was kind of messed up from her parents, but she probably wouldn't be who she is without him. Well, actually, they literally say as much, basically. For right or wrong, he had a horrible influence on her. But now she's taking back the reins and making it her own origin, which I thought was really cool.
And normal Joker.
Yeah, that was cool. That was so cool. I love that. Oh, man.
I'm surprised they really did it, though, because I saw the color fade from his hands at the end of the last season. I was like, oh, yeah, was he going to show up normal next season? And he did. I was like, whoa!
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Great. I wish we got more of it, though. We only really got, like, 2 episodes out of it. But, I mean, I guess, like, it's
the Joker.
Come on. You can't make it too much about him. It's Harley's show.
Right. And that is crazy too, that by the end of the second season, it seems like even the Joker is trying to be a better person.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, now he's in a rolling.
Oh gosh.
He's a suburban dad.
Suburban dad.
I can have a girlfriend and keep killing people. I'm like,
Man. Yep. So, really great show. I mean, I also need to give a big shout out to Jim Rash, who plays the Riddler, who also plays the Dean on Community, ended up becoming the Dean of Riddler U in a very obvious nod, which I love. I love, I mean, like, that's the thing. They make such great, like, side characters in this show, like the Riddler who becomes buff because he's running on a hamster wheel all through the second season. And then, like, he just keeps flexing his muscles and freaking Psycho out with it.
Yeah.
Psycho, how do you feel about Psycho being the big villain?
I'm actually all for it because I was thinking, like, he's the opposite of all of the messages, I guess, the show. Well, not messages, but all the ideologies the show is trying to stand behind. So I'm like, well, I guess they're having this character to kind of balance it out and everything, but why is he on her team? Is it just to, like, appeal to the people who don't want the show to be too whatever
Right.
it is? But then, like, he becomes the villain. I'm like, oh wow, so yeah, he is just a straight jerk. So that's also kind of cool. I didn't see it coming either. So that was extra nice.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see it coming either. I thought it was cool because it's like, you know, I know they're all villains, but I still was like, oh yeah, this is the crew. They're all on the same page. And then to see Dr. Psycho kind of like turn things around, be like, you know what? I've had it with this. I want to do what I used to do and go back to his ways. It's kind of like a foil of Harley in the sense that, you know, at the beginning they both wanted to change and, you know, redeem themselves. But Psycho ended up being like, you know what? No, I don't like this. I'm going back to what I used to do. And I think that's what makes it
It's
way
true
more
to his
interesting to me
character.
in terms of the dynamic. Exactly. Because he's not, you know, wanting to, you know, take hold of the same ideals that Harley
Well,
is.
ultimately, the rest of the gang, yeah, I mean, like, Harley, again, her morality kind of bounces back and forth, but she clearly has more of a conscience than a lot of the other villains. Again, especially in the Fables episode where she murders everyone. Gotta end the bloodline. I mean, she wasn't wrong, but anyway. But no, Harley has dubious morals. Ivy, again, like she'll murder people, but only people who aren't plants. She only does it for quote good reason, which I guess is better than again some of the other villains. And then Clayface doesn't seem to really care about villainy at all. I don't really know why he's even a villain. He likes to act.
Yeah.
And King Shark, you know, I mean, he's probably a villain because of some horrible incidents that have happened to him in the past.
Well, he ate his brother.
Yeah. Yeah. See, that's the thing. The whole under the sea gag was not funny, but then they follow it up with like his backstory is that he ate his brother. Yeah.
Man.
But yeah, Dr. Psycho always seemed like the one that actually wanted to do villainy and really do villainy. And it was great. It's also hilarious that like Tony Hale plays very innocent, pure Sporky on Disney Plus, and then incredibly raunchy Dr. Psycho on the DC streaming service. Yeah. Oh man, but yeah, no, he seemed like a great choice. I really hope they don't revert him in the next season if they have one. I don't want to see him back on the team. I want to see him either as another villain or maybe like I don't know, like a hostage or like I don't know. I want to see him in a different role. I don't want them to just allow him back in the gang.
Yeah, I'm kind of all set with just leaving him in Arkham. Like maybe whenever there's an episode in Arkham, you can bring him back and just be like, "Yep, he's still here." But I don't even think he needs to be in the main roster anymore.
Yeah, no, they did a great job. His plan was pretty cool too. Like I liked his idea, and they foreshadowed it very well by having him be jealous of Harley being the one to get the army and all this stuff. But yeah. I also like all the characters in the show. I like Batgirl. I like how she just kind of like wants to be friends with Harley and Ivy, and like I don't know, she just comes off as kind of like a fangirl.
Yeah.
Which is funny because again, in traditional Batman interpretation, she kind of is just like a fangirl of Batman's who just decides to become a part of Batman's world. So it's kind of cool to see that.
I would have liked to see her involved in the finale somewhere. Like, even if it was just like a very, very small role, I just felt like they were building up to something and it never really got paid off. And if they don't get that third season, then that's just kind of it.
Yeah, she warns Harley that Gordon's gonna go and try to interrupt the wedding, and that's it. like she's just kind of like shoot out the building by Harley.
Batgirl and said, "I'm here to help" or something, and maybe like when Harley gets kicked out of the wedding, Batgirl's still there. And she like alerts everyone or something. I don't know. I mean, the episode was fine. There's nothing that really needs to be fixed. I just personally would have liked to see more Batgirl in the finale to wrap things up. But I'd still say it was pretty good as is. I really liked what was it? How Dr. Psycho was controlling a lot of Harley's teammates, so you got to really see like their combative, like villainous side outside of like the comedy.
Like Clayface is like super powerful, but you never know it.
Yeah, he like grows up gigantically and he starts. It's like
okay, I mean, you can do this the whole time,
and you decided to just be co-eds, ditzy co-eds.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And Cyborgman.
Psy's
Great.
great. Jason Alexander, George Costanza himself, as just like grumpy old Jewish ex-spy landlord cyborg who could transform into a car.
And
Oh,
now he's an AI,
His sacrifice.
Yeah.
His sacrifice was amazing.
oh man.
and he's like a really like old school AI, like the lag and
Yeah.
the fuzz on the screen. It's I
Yeah.
love he's
Yep.
great.
Oh man. And yeah, I mean Kite Man too. Like I wouldn't say I loved him as much as I love some of the other characters, but he does kind of have like a certain innocence that the show kind of needs, you know? You never actually see him doing anything villainous. He's just
Well, except for the part where he tries to burn them.
okay.
But...
Well, listen. oh man. But yeah. And the Penguin's played by who? Like Wayne Knight or something. That dude, the dude that's in everything like Jurassic Park. Yeah, I don't know.
How do you feel about them like legitimately killing off like DC characters? Penguin's gone. Mr. Freeze is gone. They got one more. I forgot who it was. Crap, who was it?
Bane's still there. Joker's still there.
Oh, Scarecrow. Scarecrow. Well,
Oh, right.
Scarecrow's
Yeah,
not that
Scarecrow,
important, but
yeah.
like, I didn't expect him to like die just because of the fact that he's like a named villain. I didn't expect anyone to die permanently.
I don't care, man. I let them keep killing people and bringing in more obscure characters. We got Condiment King in season
Yeah.
2.
Most evil villain in all of Gotham. Oh, he died.
Yeah,
He did.
maybe Ivy just sent him on vacation.
Oh yeah,
he's
right.
Just digesting.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
But no, I think there's such a wide roster of DC characters, and plus enough are left alive of big guys like Joker and Lex Luthor and Bane, and there's still plenty of stuff that they can do with the characters left. I didn't feel like any of the characters killed were like ones that I'm like, no, we need more of them.
So do you think Joker still knows Batman's identity?
Ooh.
I don't
Because
know.
once he came back, like it didn't get said at all. Like I was thinking, like maybe it just wasn't relevant to the scene, but it kind of seemed like I don't know. I feel like it at least should have been brought up. Like maybe like the Joker could have just called Batman Bruce at one point just to mess with him.
Interesting.
That's that. But I don't know.
Well,
I wonder where it's gonna go.
How about the great episode with oh gosh, is it the You're a Darn Good Cop Gordon episode where Clayface's arm becomes friend to Gordon, and then like Harley tries to talk Batman into like giving Gordon another chance, and I felt like that was a really good episode and a really good Batman episode. Oh man, yeah, Gordon is hilarious. Like, just he's so, and also can I point out like how they could not have planned this, but like how perfect it is to have the cops be like the ultimate bad guys in the last season. There's also even a line about Gordon saying, "Yeah, we randomly kill someone every so often, but who cares?" Like,
Yeah.
it's really topical. Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. They're really, there's a few moments, but otherwise, there's not an episode of this show that I don't like, and I just feel like they really Well, okay. Let me say something I wasn't crazy about. The kiss to bring Ivy back to life.
Yeah.
Oh, the love. This is true love. Yeah.
I mean, they try to play it off with a joke, but it's still doing that, and it's like, come on, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's moments like that where there's just like kind of small things I'd have issues with the show. Like one thing I don't even really think anyone has too much of an issue with, but there's a scene where Harley and Joker are trying to get the book back, and they're fighting off a bunch of parademons and just completely like destroying them. And I'm thinking they shouldn't be able to do that with just a bat. But I mean, whatever. Like that's not what this whole thing's about. And if you don't really
chemicals in the vat, Kuro.
Yeah, the chemicals in the vat.
Listen, the vat. All right, it's all about the vat, man.
Yeah. Like I would have if they like found a M16 on the floor or something and picked that up and started fighting them off that, I'd believe that. But I don't know. They were just taking on a swarm of parademons with a bat and a crowbar, and I was like, it's fine. But yeah, it wasn't even nearly enough to like make me think anything negative of the show. And after that scene, I kind of forgot about it until I thought about it later. So.
Well, ultimately, I mean, the thing is that this show, it swings big, right? It takes big chances and risks with the jokes, and that's why, like, I don't really begrudge the whole under the sea sequence because yeah, it's dumb, it's not funny, but like they took a big chance. You know, I could see a version of that being really funny. You know, so
Yeah.
but yeah, if you're looking for a really great adult cartoon, Harley Quinn is absolutely it. I mean, I like even you know, if you don't care that much about comedy, but you're still looking for like a DC action show. Yeah, the show is mostly comedy, but there's some really cool action sequences in it as well. It definitely doesn't leave that behind. It's not like the Looney Tunes show where they take these characters and transplant them into something else. They're still DC's heroes and villains. They're just a little funnier than usual. All right. Anything else, guys?
No, really, just really hoping they put together a third season and hope it doesn't take.
Yeah.
It'll probably take at least a year, honestly, but let's hope not 2 years.
Yeah, and let's hope it comes out on HBO Max.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what I'm hoping for.
Just hoping good things for the show for the future.
Yeah. All right.
Yep.
Well, so this is officially the part of the show where we do Q&A. So if you want to ask us questions, they could be about Harley Quinn, they could be about cartoons, they could be about whatever you want. I'm not saying we'll answer all of them, but this is the point where you can ask questions.
Yep. So we do have the super chat, which actually ties into something I just happened to see on Twitter when I was refreshing my feed really quick. This was from Bacon Toasty. Thank you for the super chat. They said, "How do you feel about Alison Brie regretting playing Diane Nguyen? Inversely, do you feel it's politically incorrect for Kristen Lee to play Bubbles?"
Oh boy.
So this actually ties into something that I just saw on
Can
Twitter.
I answer the first part
that
since you don't know anything about BoJack? Okay,
Yeah, go ahead.
Then you can get to the other part.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, look, it just goes to show that even in BoJack, which is a very socially, politically conscious show, they didn't do the incredibly, you know, politically correct thing or whatever. And the creator of the show regrets it. And it's I understand the regret. But I mean, I think Alison Brie brings a lot to the character, and I don't know. I think that, you know, if you had a time machine, sure, casting someone who is actually, what is she? Korean, I believe. Vietnamese. Sorry, excuse me. Hiring someone who is that to actually play a character who struggles with that. Yeah, no, I think that would have been the right thing to do. But at the, you know, again, I don't think you should disregard Alison Brie's performance, but I understand why she feels regretful. So yeah, I think it's understandable, but I really don't. It's nothing to attack her or the creator of the show over.
I got a quick comment about that. I kind of feel bad for Alison Brie because I've seen in quite a few interviews that she really enjoyed the character. Like, she really connected with it. She loved playing the role. And I feel like she doesn't regret playing it. I feel like she's almost pressured into feeling like she shouldn't like that role anymore because of everything that's being talked about in the voice acting community and everything. And whether or not you think it's right for, you know, the characters of one race playing another, or whatever your opinions on, I just feel bad. Like voice actors who've played characters that they were very proud of and very connected to now feel this disdain from them because of how the public is treating everything.
So this actually ties into a point that I see being mentioned here, and it's people are concerned that so much of this removal stuff and all of this is being used as a way to make the social movement's concerns and demands seem preposterous or over exaggerated.
100% agree.
Yeah, you mentioned that earlier.
People are seeing it as a way of, like, there's literally an episode of The Golden Girls that is getting removed because the characters have mud masks on. It's not even in, you know, relation to blackface or racism. It's just they have mud masks on, you know, to treat their skin. But even that's being pulled.
Okay.
And people,
like, just real quick, just like, is the reason why blackface is getting caught but not other jokes that are racially insensitive or whatever just because that's easy or something? Like that, like they ran algorithms through their content and just found why, you know, it seems, I don't know, it's just weird to me that that's getting flagged but no other insensitive jokes or jokes, you know, racist characters.
Yeah, there are plenty of other issues out there that are just as bad, and they're just getting glanced over. And it's, you know, it's just interesting. I mean, obviously, current events definitely have an influence on that. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah, I was gonna say I distinctly remember a joke in Scrubs where JD has one of his like dream visions or whatever you want to call them,
Fantasy sequences.
fantasy sequences. One of those, yeah. And he takes Turk's arm and he's like, "Oh, you're made of chocolate," and takes it off, and he's holding a chocolate arm and takes a bite out of it. And I'm like,
That one's
all
not
right,
flagged.
well, yeah, it's there, and you can watch that right now. So if it's like, is it just blackface because it has a history, or is it because of all racially insensitive jokes? And then at that case, like, we're gonna be censoring everything.
Well, the thing about the ironic thing about the fact that Scrubs and Community are being targeted is the fact that those are shows that are very like Scrubs. I think, in my opinion, again as a white dude, doesn't matter as much certainly. Like they make a lot of JD and Turk's friendship is beautiful, and they don't hide Turk's blackness, right? Turk and JD constantly make jokes about, him being Chocolate Bear and how they love their interracial friendship, and like they don't hide his blackness, rather they celebrate it, and I feel like that's how it should be done. And same thing with Community. Community is about people that are very different coming together, and they do make a lot of jokes, and they make a lot of jokes about Pierce being racist and insensitive jokes and stuff like that. But I feel like they do it because if you don't talk about, no one knows how to talk about race anymore because everything is so tied up in being afraid of hurting people's feelings and saying the wrong thing and getting canceled. And I don't think people should be saying racist things, but I think this like brand of equality that is like pretending other races do not exist is also like insulting.
Yeah, no, I agree. Especially, yeah, because what you're saying, like, contextualize, like you'd see that joke, like if you're a fan of Scrubs, you're just like, oh, JD's just being weird again. But you can absolutely just take that clip out of context and be like, this is utterly racist and horrible. Right. I feel like that's what's happening with a lot of the scenes that are getting removed. Like, I haven't seen Community, but I did do a little bit of digging once I heard of that episode, and especially with your explanation, like I can kind of get it, and especially if they call him out for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. It's
like that's the thing.
There's no end to this.
Yeah, nothing that I've seen removed is unironic blackface. Every single one of them is the joke is the character is doing something insensitive. And again, I'm not saying you can't not take offense to it because of that, but we're not talking about like banning like actual minstrel shows here. No one, do that. Who cares? Like, anyway, sorry, Shadow. We cut you off. You had a Powerpuff Girls thing to talk about.
Yeah, I was just gonna go back to answer the original question. I'm anybody should be able to play anybody. The entire idea of acting is taking on the role of a character. But, I don't have an issue with it one way or the other. I mean,
yeah.
I just think that everybody, ultimately, I just think everybody should be given equal opportunities. But who plays what should be, equally distributed. I think it's totally fine if one person plays this and one person plays this because it's a performance, and, I think Kristen Lee does a fine job as Bubbles.
The Powerpuff Girls are also not strictly white as much as they are like creations. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. They weren't born. Like, they don't have a cultural history in a sense.
Yeah.
So who cares? Like what race plays them?
Although you can make the argument that the reboot makes race a factor with Bliss, but
yeah, in fact, I do think, especially in terms of voice acting, you should separate the art of voice acting from the character. Like, there was actually a controversy. I don't think you guys would be too much aware of because you haven't seen the show, but since I have been getting into My Hero Academia a lot, there was a character who was introduced to tease who's going to be a bigger character in the next season, and she's African American, or I guess, well, they're in Japan, so whatever. Yeah, so a lot of people were getting mad, saying like, "Oh, they should have gotten a black woman to voice the character." And the thing is, they did. the black character is voiced by a black woman, but they're all just like, "Oh, but she doesn't sound black." And it's like,
Wow.
all
And
right,
then
so now
the
you're getting
refs-
what you want, but now I don't know.
But see, then now that's falling into
Exactly.
stereotypes.
So it's like you can't like there's this whole people of color should be playing strictly this and that. It's the wrong
But they
direction.
have to play it a certain
Exactly.
way.
It's the wrong
That all
direction
of a
to go
sudden
because
is
we're
like,
going to run
okay,
into these
double
problems.
standard.
And then it's
Mhm.
like, oh, but how will we know for sure if whether or not the character is voiced by the same race? And it's like you don't, and that's the point because you're supposed to be lost in the immersion that this character is a character and you're following their
Yeah,
story.
it's about the character, not the person being the character.
Yeah.
But
I messed up last
I'm with
week.
you.
Apparently, Olivia Olson is mixed race who plays Bliss. So that's my bad. But yeah, no, I mean, it just. And listen, hey, I do see some people talking in the comments, and I'm not against political correctness, and I want to make that very clear. I'm not against being sensitive to people's needs and trying to create a world where people aren't insulted all the time. Like, there's nothing at all wrong with that. And I don't just because we're talking about an extreme example, I don't want to make it sound like I'm against people, caring about other races and trying to be polite. And that's why I said good faith is what matters. Good faith, and there are good faith ways and there are bad faith ways of people who don't care. And so yeah, that's kind of where it's at, and it's tricky and complicated. And I think everyone needs to understand that these things are a little more complicated than stupid Twitter wants to make you believe. Like,
it's not an easy black and white. I did not mean
Shadow,
to
come
make a
on,
pun
buddy.
there. But it's not. It's very gray. Okay, there's no one correct way to go about handling these problems, and it's always important to keep other people's perspectives in, and that's why we've encouraged discussion, because we want to hear other perspectives. Because it's hard to just pinpoint this will solve the issue, and some people seem to think it is that simple, but it's not. And that's why it's a struggle, a constant struggle that we still see. We've seen it happen before. It's continuing because it's not something that can just be fixed with the snap of a finger. Sorry, Thanos. So it's just a matter of finding the best ways to handle the situation. Hopefully, given time, given the right practices, things will get better, and we can progress forward, and hopefully one day these won't be an issue. It's definitely important to take the right steps, but it's not something that gets solved overnight. I think providing more opportunities for, more equal opportunities for everyone is definitely the right direction to head. And unfortunately, the capitalist side of things makes that difficult. And that's what kind of is where a lot of this tension is stemming from.
I have to point out this comment. Facts don't care about your feelings, Pie Guy. Everyone should have insults beamed into their head with lasers. Thank you, John. That's great. Okay. Thank you for that.
But,
yeah, and I agree, and it's weird too, right? Because in the example of Allison Brie, it's like it's almost like a way of her kind of like putting herself in another culture's shoes, and she probably learned a bit, and she probably grew as a person from getting to voice this character.
Mm-hmm.
And again, regardless of how you feel about whether it should be done or it shouldn't be done, I feel like it's really sad to go after someone who she accepted a role and I don't know. It's tough.
And she seemed very sincere about it too. Like I obviously haven't seen the show, but like, just from what you guys have said, and I've seen interviews with her just as a voice actress. She seems like a very sincere person.
Yeah.
So, it's not like she was taking advantage of it or, making fun of it or anything like that.
No.
She seemed to be very serious and very intense with her performance in the sense that she wanted to do it justice. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Okay, we also
But with that said, we do have a lot of super chats.
Sorry. We've got one from M62259. Thank you. Just mentioning that Cartoon Wars Part 1 and 2 also got removed from HBO Max along with the other Muhammad South Park episode. That's a whole can of worms. But yeah, that's not surprising at all. We have another super chat from Adam Grunther. What is your favorite episode of Harley Quinn?
I actually had to look it up.
Yeah, let me look at because the thing is, with streaming stuff, it didn't drop all at once, but I watched a lot of these episodes all at once, so
I watched it every Friday, so
yeah,
I really spaced it out.
Oh wow.
I would say just for the sake of memorability, it would have to be season 2, episode 6. All the best inmates have daddy issues, where they do the whole flashback thing. Just because that really stuck out to me when I watched it. But there's definitely episodes that I feel like made me laugh a lot harder, and there were better jokes. But in terms of what I think was all around like a phenomenal episode, I would probably say that one.
I definitely think, like I said before, you're a darn good cop. Is a really funny episode. It's got a lot of great Batman moments, a lot of great Gordon moments, and is also a pretty good episode for some action at the beginning there with the heist. But I'll also give a shout out to Harley Quinn Highway for being one of the most insane episodes of the series. Oh man.
Yeah, I actually think that was probably going to be Harley Quinn's Highway. I love that episode just because it's so off the wall. It's great.
I also love how early in the season they offhandedly mentioned that Harley got a highway named after her. And you think it's just a dumb joke, and then it comes back, and it's literally like there's death loops and everything, and this is where Side transforms into a car.
It's like, what? I loved it. Yeah, that's my favorite.
Oh man. All right, continue going with the super chats. We will answer regular questions, but we've,
Wait, Shadow, did you say your favorite episode?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Harley Quinn Highway.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I was saying that was the one I was going to say.
All right.
We got one from Weston Coley. Why do we need segregation in voice acting? I thank you for the super chat, but I think we've pretty thoroughly gone into the reasoning.
We kind of answered that after it was asked without directly acknowledging.
Yeah, I hope you mean this in a good way, but yeah, no, the truth is that regardless of how you feel about the casting, the entertainment industry has a really bad track record of letting people of color play themselves, and just getting representation in general. So again, even if you don't necessarily agree with the direct way that it's done, or even if I don't necessarily agree with the direct way it's done, I still agree that something needs to be done, and we need to see a better representation of voices in the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
Okay. We got a super chat from Tim Whitfield. Do you guys know about the Tracy Ullman show and thoughts on the first Jurassic Park? Very random. I've never seen the Tracy Ullman show, although I know it's where the Simpsons come from, and
yeah, that's all I know about it too.
So no.
But
thanks for asking.
But the first Jurassic Park is a good movie. I do enjoy that. It's definitely fun. I still think it's cool how it kind of, I know people are kind of back and forth about CG, but I think that was a good movie of like, kind of starting out with some CG here and there with, practical effects, and I think it still holds up for the most part.
Never seen it.
Good film. Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kuro?
I haven't seen it.
I think it's worth a watch at least once.
I've seen like a billion videos about the special effects on it, so I feel like I have, but like I've never sat down.
I've seen a million parodies.
Yep.
Yeah, that's everywhere.
Okay. And we also from Tim Whitfield. Do you guys? Oh no, never mind. That's the same question. From Bacon Toasty. Do you feel the ha gay scene from Community is offensive and should be censored? Ooh, I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen this. It's a meme. I mean,
I've only
I'm
seen
familiar
it
with
out
it.
of context, so I don't really have an answer. I would just
there
say
is no context. I mean, it's just Chang saying that. I this is a question for someone in the LGBT community. I think I don't think I can pass judgment. I think personally, I think it's funny the way he says it, but I don't know that necessarily that has aged particularly well.
Yeah.
So yeah. And again from Weston Coley, thanks for the super chat. We don't want Phil Lamar, Jack changed, or Vader. The best person to play the character should have the voice. That thing with Cleveland can be flipped. Yeah, but I mean, I don't disagree. But the thing is that are we saying that there isn't someone who's good at voice acting that's Asian that could play an Asian character? Or like I don't think we should go back in time and like, change Darth Vader's voice to a white dude or something. You know what I mean? But we're talking about going forward, and why couldn't someone you know what I mean? It's like there's definitely got to be good people out there, good voice actors who could play these roles that fit the nationality.
Ethnicity.
Yeah, ethnicity. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, definitely. And that's what I'm all about is going forward. I think we should focus on that, but changing the past isn't solving the problem. So,
yeah.
yeah, I think creating more roles, more movies, more shows, what have you, that feature these kinds of ethnicities or cultures, is definitely a good way to go about it.
And thank you, Weston, who also just super chats to say, I mean, in a good way, and love your channel. Yeah, listen, not everyone knows everything, all the cultural history behind why some of this stuff is seen as offensive or whatever. So I don't feel it's right to shame anyone or to attack anyone or to look down on anyone who doesn't agree or who doesn't know the context. I think as long as, again, you're in good faith. If you mean this in a way as to say that, like, anyone pushing for any social change is dumb and bad and we should fight against it, then I don't think that's in good faith. But if you have a different opinion to way things should be handled, and you say it respectfully, and you genuinely don't mean any harm towards, again, I think in a vacuum, yeah, saying the best person should get the job and the best voice actor should voice the character, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But again, there's some cultural context that makes it different, at least for some people.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so some non-super chat questions.
Has anyone heard of Summer Camp Island? It's a really cute show.
I feel like I've heard the title.
Hot take.
Oh,
I think it looks ugly.
Chad, did you answer this question just to insult this person? Come on, man.
No. I just wanted to bring it up because I was interested.
Shadow, I really love Summer
guys
Camp
had to
Island.
say.
It's the most beautiful show I've ever seen.
I think it's ugly.
Has it touched your heart in the way that it's touched mine?
Oh.
Okay, hot take,
No,
but it's
I
ugly.
No, I didn't mean it in a mean way. I just wanted to, I'm glad to hear that somebody actually likes it because I barely hear this show talked about, and I wanted to know if you guys were aware of it because this is definitely an overlooked Cartoon Network show.
They got those college party pupils, if you know what I mean. I haven't seen it, but
Me neither.
I don't know.
I've watched 5 minutes, and I don't know. The art style just doesn't do it for me. It's not like in a charming ugly the way Flapjack is. It's just, I don't know. I just don't enjoy watching it. But hey, I mean, if you enjoy it, by all means, enjoy it, please.
All right.
Don't let me stop you.
I'll answer this question, but I'm gonna be very careful here. John would like to know, as the resident SpongeBob expert, did Nickelodeon confirm that SpongeBob is the big gay?
I think. Oh, you're the resident SpongeBob expert. I was thinking
Yeah.
Did Cartoon Network confirm that Ben 10 is gay?
Is gay. He could turn into a gay.
Is
before
Ben
the-
trans alien? I mean,
Well,
kind of, right?
Technically, Big Chill. I mean, well, he doesn't really have a gender. I mean, he can turn into a genderless creature if that counts. But I don't think if he was going to turn into a female character, I think he would have to like set the Omnitrix to do that specifically. But by default, he turns into either asexual beings, not asexual, gendered beings, or male versions.
Okay. Anyway, yeah. So, no. First of all, Nickelodeon didn't confirm anything as much as they included SpongeBob in a tweet that also mentioned allies and the LGBTQ spectrum, not strictly just gay. So no, I don't think that Nick hard confirmed anything personally, although I can definitely see why people can read into it that way when they included Schwaz, who's played by a trans actor, and they included Cora, who is canonically at least bisexual or gay. I'm not sure which. I think maybe bi. I don't know. Anyway, I don't think they confirmed anything, and personally, I think that there's enough evidence or lack of evidence in the show that I think you can think whatever you want of SpongeBob. Really, he's had no actual relationships outside of a Krabby Patty and a date with old ladies that he was doing to be fancy. Stephen Hillenburg's interpretation was that SpongeBob was asexual. But I honestly think that whatever you want to interpret SpongeBob as is correct because the show doesn't confirm or deconfirm anything. So, just
it's open to interpretation.
Yeah, just I do what you want, that's how I feel about it. But I want to be very careful because I don't want to take SpongeBob away from the gay community or anything. If you want him to be a gay icon, he can be. I don't personally really care because that's not anything the show confirms or deconfirms or does anything. You know, there's evidence to suggest that originally he was supposed to have a relationship with Sandy, but that's not really in the show other than kind of being hinted at. He also makes a lot of really creepy comments towards Squidward. And again, he hasn't had an official relationship with anyone and loves everyone, so he could also be asexual. Whatever you want, guys. SpongeBob can be whatever you want.
Yeah. It's got enough holes for everyone.
Yeah, it is a very special soda stream. Didn't really expect to be making a lot of these statements, but you know, it's not that I don't believe in these statements. It's just that whenever you open your mouth about anything related to race or LGBT issues or sensitive topics, there's always going to be people that jump on you, and you just want to make sure that you say what you mean in the clearest possible way, so people don't understand. And if people do understand,
you don't want it to be misconstrued the wrong way,
right?
Because you do have to be very careful, because you don't want to come across the wrong way or say the wrong thing.
No,
so.
There's nothing wrong with taking a statement. Again, this stream supports Black Lives Matter, but you gotta know what you're saying before you say it. You know.
Yeah.
I definitely don't think Nickelodeon intended to start a thing with that tweet. I think they were just like, oh, SpongeBob's our biggest character, let's include him in this tweet. But the way they did it definitely seemed to imply something.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like they at least knew that some people were gonna think that.
I don't know. I don't know that whoever runs Nick's Twitter is thinking too hard about anything. No offense, Nickelodeon intern. Ooh, this is a good question from Calcium Animation. Any other DC characters you'd like to see satirized on Harley Quinn? Personally, I kind of want to see Hush or Captain Boomerang, but that's just the weird fanboy in me.
Ooh.
Let
me think.
Yeah, I'm thinking right now.
Because I feel like they've shown everyone technically, but there's some I'd want to see more. Like I want to see more Flash, just because I'm a big Flash fan.
I want to see Nightwing. I mean, I like Nightwing.
Yeah, bring in Nightwing. Yeah,
Nightwing.
There we go. Bring in Nightwing. And I guess more people in Harley Quinn's category, like maybe Deadshot could show up for a bit. Anyone on?
I'd be interested if they put Deathstroke.
Deathstroke.
What they do with him.
He just is the exact same character from Teen Titans Go to the Movies. Played by Will Arnett.
Yes, exactly.
Same animation.
Yeah.
Doesn't fit, but it's fine. It's fine.
I would be totally fine with that.
Oh man. Oh, that would be pretty funny. I actually, on that note, I think the rest of the Titans would be cool. I'd like to see Robin or.
They're referenced. Robin references the Teen Titans in the show, so it's possible.
Beast Boy.
That's actually what made me question.
Solomon Grundy.
So this Robin is in the Titans, but Dick Grayson is all grown up and presumably Nightwing now. So is this even the same Titans we're thinking about?
Well,
yeah, it could be.
No, I think they're referring more to the comics Titans, which is like a rotating group.
Yeah, so like if the Titans show up, we might not be getting like who we're thinking we're getting. We might get like
that's fair.
Kid Flash, Bumblebee, whoever's on the next generation of it, Blue Beetle, those ones, which I'd be fine with. But I mean, if maybe I'm thinking too hard about it, but if we get the Titans, I don't think we're going to be seeing like Beast Boy, Cyborg, Raven, Starfire.
Ooh, I know who. Scooby-Doo.
Oh no, here we go. Okay.
He's canon technically.
He is. He's crossed over a few times. Shadow and I know. And Scoob, I mean, apparently Captain Falcon. No, not Captain Falcon. What's his name? Blue Falcon.
Blue Falcon.
Kind of like a parody of Batman, apparently, or something. I don't know.
Just as one more, I think it'd be cool if they cut the Mad Hatter.
Ooh.
That'd be cool.
Oh
yeah. But... Well, actually, Mad Hatter would be perfect because he has like an unhealthy obsession with a woman, which very much like Harley Quinn could, that fits within the I don't want to say the politics, but the messages they're pushing forward. That's a perfect one. Also, we didn't even talk about it, but they had a really, really neat interpretation of Mr. Freeze. They kind of kept it true to what everyone's favorite interpretation of Mr. Freeze is, while also doing a very Harley Quinn thing with it. We got a super chat from Weston Coley asking, directed at Kuro.
Oh, hello.
Kuro, I'm working on drawing and check your Twitter every few hours. Wow. I want your opinion on it. What?
Sure.
He wants Kuro's opinion on the drawing.
I'm sorry. I misunderstood the. Yeah.
What username should I be looking out for? Would it just be Weston Coley?
Good question.
Well, I'll just do my best to just pay attention to whatever I'm tagged in for the next few hours. So yeah, looking forward to that, dude. Thank you.
Okay. Pie Guy, I have a whole year and a half to check up on vids. Okay. I don't know that I've unleashed a lot of things in the past year and a half, but also unleash is a very odd way to say release videos. But you know,
Pie Guy Unleashed.
yes, guys, an hour and a half until I unleash this new video. Well, that's kind of how it feels whenever I upload a Butch video. Oh man. Have you seen the movie Batman and Harley Quinn? I
No,
started watching it. I got bored.
I have not.
I didn't think I'd like it.
Okay, Kuro, I don't know if you have the same issue, but whenever I try to watch like animated Batman movies that they've made in the past few years, I get really bored with them.
I agree to an extent. I feel like I feel like they're all like good movies in a sense, but there's just so many of them. It's tiresome. Like it's just not exciting. So I feel like you know, if you're just watching a lot of them, it's really just Batman in a different scenario every time.
Yeah.
The Hush was really good. Gotham by Gaslight was good, but you know, if we're getting like 3 or 4 Batman movies every year, it's gonna get boring no matter what. And I feel like they're just I don't know what they're gonna try to do, if they're gonna try to keep it even more different to the point where it's not even Batman anymore. Or if they could just take a break, maybe focus on other heroes for a bit. I would be fine with that.
See, I'd just rather go back and watch Batman the Animated Series, to be honest. Those stories are shorter and I think better, just in general. But no, I don't really have like a huge criticism. I'm just not. I can't get invested, and I think a part of it is because it's not like an ongoing. I'm like, okay, well, what Batman is this? What version is it? Does he have Robin? Is Alfred what's the deal?
Well, there is one movie series that actually just ended this year. I think there's like 16 movies in it, and it's all set in the same continuity.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
You can watch them isolated. In fact, I bet you've probably seen some of them already.
Probably.
But you can enjoy. But if you watch them like in the order they come out, you can like get attached to the continuity, and then towards the last like movie, everything wraps up. Like I didn't even expect it to be over, but I was watching the last movie without knowing it was the last movie, and like everything from all 16 movies came together, and it was wow, this is phenomenal. I didn't know I was in for this.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. When you go on the DC streaming service, you just kind of get overwhelmed with like 18 Batman animated, and you're like, well, which ones of these are good? What you know?
Oh yeah, you know what? So all those movies that I'm mentioning probably aren't even on here. There's probably like 3. Like I don't even know where you would. That kind of sucks for that movie universe, because I feel like it's good, but I don't think there's a way to watch all of them just in order without just buying all of them, or you know, the other way.
Also, Weston Coley says that Coley_Weston is their Twitter, and they are drawing now.
Oh, sweet.
Cool.
Here's a question from the Discord server. What is your favorite guilty pleasure video game? For me, it's Shadow the Hedgehog.
Oh God!
Gotta bring in Sonic, baby. Let's go. No, but seriously, that game, like I know it's got a lot of problems. It's not very good. I still enjoy it though, so that's my answer. But is there a game that you consider a guilty pleasure?
The one
Mario
I
Party
did shut off.
Oh,
you can go first.
Mario Party 8, the Wii one, the first Wii one. Excuse me. That's one with like all the ridiculous motion controls. It's really not like a great game, but it's a fun party game because, you know, I mean, anyone can pick up the Wiimote and do stupid Wiimote party game stuff. You know what I mean? Like, it is very accessible, and I hate what they did with the series after it. You know, 8 is not a great game, but I feel like, I don't know. I feel like it's one of those ones where when the motion controls are acting stupid, you kind of laugh with your friends about it. Versus just like strictly obnoxious, you know. So that would probably be mine. How about you, Carl?
Mine was this thing called Tetris Friends, where it's essentially Tetris, but every time you make a line, you can you send a line over to whoever your opponent is. So you're trying to like fill up the other person fast, and then there's like, you know, power-ups and stuff integrated into the game, and you can get into games with up to 8 people. And I got so fast at it, I was practically typing with my keyboard, and I just loved it. I'm very into like puzzle games and strategic games, but it just wasn't popular enough, and their servers eventually shut down. So now I'd probably say either, I don't know, I never play this anymore, but a game I always find fun is Call of Duty Zombies. I just love it, find it fun. Uh, but I don't really play too many video games anymore. I like Marvel Ultimate Alliance, if that counts.
Okay.
On the Switch.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's yeah. It's definitely not a great game. It's- I zoned out for a second and I heard Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
Have you played the third one on the Switch?
No, God no. I tried playing the first one again with my friend. We played it, same friend that I played it with originally when it first came out, and like there's definitely neat aspects to it, but ultimately the game is super boring. Like
I can agree with you that on the first game. The first game
yeah.
it was eh. The second game, it added enough mechanics for me to like get enjoyment out of it, but I can see like people who are like really invested in video games getting bored with it. The third one, I will say, is an ultimately good game. It was produced by a different studio,
Oh.
which is why I feel like calling it 3 really hurt the sales because they're gonna like associate with the other two. But it's aside from like maybe the basic upon basic controls and the idea that you're playing with like a roster of Marvel characters, it's essentially a completely new game, and it's fantastic.
Mhm.
And I love it a lot.
That's good to know, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got a few super chats from Bacon Toasty. Thanks so much for all the super chats. I'll just read all of them at once. So I understand making the effort to include people of color in new shows and casting, but do you think it's necessary to recast roles casted a long time ago? With Cleveland, shouldn't the new voice? Is it because I said recast?
Oh.
No. With Cleveland, should the new voice actor have to do a spot-on Mike Henry impression, or should he create his own voice for Cleveland? Regardless, would it be off-putting to hear a new voice? For example, it was noticeable with Dookie's second voice. You can use the Johnny Test example. All right. I mean, we've talked about this a lot now. Again, I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is in terms of older stuff. I feel like it's gonna bring the wrong attention. I don't necessarily think Cleveland is I mean, it's Family Guy, isn't it supposed to be offensive? And I don't know. It's just like it's a problem with these long-range shows. Maybe they should just end, right? Like rather than have to grapple with these moral quandaries. I agree. It's more complicated when talking about previous things. You know, going forward, yes, you can easily do that. But in the past, no matter what you do, you're going to upset diehard fans. And regardless of race and everything, I understand why someone would be put off that this character is going to have a voice that's a different voice. And also, I have no idea whether they're going to do an impression or not. I don't know whether that's offensive or not. I don't know. You guys have any thoughts?
Honestly, and this is probably not going to solve it at all, but just because it's Family Guy,
Oh boy.
they could just kill him off.
How about they just make him white?
Oh my god!
Just be super offensive.
Oh sure.
No, make him white and then have him be played by a black voice actor. There we
Sure.
go. Racism solved.
Yeah.
If only it was that easy.
I do kind of feel though that Family Guy should do something just insane, like because there's no great way to handle this at this point.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It definitely this. Yeah. This. I feel like this whole voice actor thing is going to open up a huge can of worms. That. Yeah.
And then.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But if they kill him off, then isn't that taking away some form of representation? Even if it's like.
Yeah, but I mean they. Well, I mean he did get his own show. I was going to say they did get rid of him for a few reasons, but it's because he was doing his own thing, and then. I don't.
It's garbage, so I don't care what happens.
Now that they've done this, I feel like there's no right solution. I feel like they should have.
Yeah.
They in fact, I feel like if they didn't do that, maybe no one would have even said anything about it. Like it probably would have gotten brought up, but I don't think it would have been as big of a deal as it is now that we're seeing people actually step down.
Yeah.
Now they're setting an example and expecting all the other white actors playing people of color to step down.
Well, that's the thing. I don't want to see like a scary witch hunt, because again, this is complicated, and for a lot of people, it's their job. Like you're asking someone to get rid of their job because it's not culturally correct. And while if you're super rich and you get lots of opportunities, I understand that. Yeah, sure, do it. But not everyone has that. Sometimes people are just actors doing their job, and they don't. I don't know. It's complicated. I don't know. I just wish. I don't know. I wish there was answers and easy answers, and I wish that people could just be more reasonable while everyone's trying to figure out the right thing to do here, but it's never going to be like that. Tim Whitfield wants to know, Kuro, do you play any humongous entertainment games? Since we talked about this last week.
I actually had to look that up, and
Pajama
I
Sam.
don't believe I have.
Ah,
I might have played some at like if a friend had it. Like most of my video game experience, like maybe even like 95% of it, has been playing games at my friends' houses. I own a Switch and an Xbox, and I literally play only Marvel Ultimate Alliance on the Switch because it's all I have. Aside from Mario Party 8, I have friends come over, and on the computer I play a game called Minion Masters. But other than that, I'm so unversed in the whole video game world, and it's just because I didn't really play them growing up. But they seem fun and stuff. But now people are always talking about like, what publisher is this doing that? This system's better than this system. This game is better than this game, and I can't follow any of it because I'm not in the community. Yeah.
Hey, Kuro, I don't think I ever told you, but I got my girlfriend into Minion Masters.
You did?
Yeah, well, because she's not a gamer, but she likes to play stuff, so it's easy enough for her to drag the cards onto the field. Yeah.
You should give me her username after this.
Kuro, I've never in my life heard you more excited than that.
Dude,
reaction.
all games I'm so passionate about, nobody else plays. Like I was into N Plus for a while, nobody played that.
Oh, N Plus is great.
Thank you. Exactly.
Oh,
like I like simple but fun games, and I like games where you can work together with people. Like in Minion Masters, always 2v2. It's boring but fun. But yeah.
We'll have to 2v2 you and your wife.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, we got a great question from John. Have you seen this show called Rick and Morty? It's pretty niche. Probably too smart for you. But in one episode, he turns himself into a pickle. Funniest thing I ever saw.
Wait, what was it called? Mick and Rory?
Called
I don't
Solar
think I've heard of
Opposites.
that. Oh. I think we mentioned that once or twice.
I do partake in the fellow entertainment of the Richard and Mortimer show. Pretty intellectual.
Richard and Mort, man. So did you
Oh,
understand
Jesus.
why he turned himself into a pickle? Because I am still baffled at this question.
Oh, you need to read at least like 8 psychological essays on it. Really understand the nuances of why a pickle specifically.
If you understand Nietzsche, you'll finally understand Rick and Morty.
The green of the pickle represents Rick's jealousy.
Yeah.
And now a shrink to tell us exactly what's wrong with Rick Sanchez for a minute and a half.
Please explain it to me so I don't have to think about it.
Man. Let's see. Opinions on Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends?
I didn't like it.
It's a good show.
Kuro?
I liked it, but I wouldn't say it was super memorable. Maybe it's because I wasn't super into it, but I liked everything when I saw it, but I haven't seen it in years. And I think I remember Blue irritating me a little bit.
See,
But-
I feel like I helped break people out of that weird nostalgia for this show. Don't get me wrong, Foster's has a lot of great episodes, but like, Blue is obnoxious. Blue is absolutely obnoxious and completely takes over the show.
All right, then yeah, maybe the show isn't good.
No, I didn't. Wait.
I like it.
No, I'm kidding. I don't trust my opinion on things unless I've recently seen them, because I
That's
really
fair.
didn't like watch things for quality when growing up. It was strictly just kind of like, does this look cool? Sure. And that was about the extent of that. I was more in it for like the production, like the animation and the voice actors and stuff. Like I'd watch like garbage television just so that I can like look up all the behind the scenes of it and like, you know, the makings of, and get to know the voice actors and things like that. That's how I got into things. But when it came down to the actual show and the quality, aside from Ben 10, I didn't really pay attention too much to the genuine quality of it.
Thanks, Weston Coley. We do have an IQ of 189 to understand Rick and Morty.
Oh man, I'm only at 188.
But Mr. Craig McCracken
You'll get
fanboy
there.
268, what do you feel about Foster's?
I like it. I mean, I will say, and it's funny, Tunjay actually brought up Cheesy Good. Oh gosh, yeah. Okay, that like kind of tainted my perception a little bit. Going back to that episode,
I'm glad.
gotta go. But other than that, I still, I have a fondness for it. I haven't like marathon the whole series again or anything, but I do know of a good chunk of episodes that still stick out to me to this day. And I probably will give them a watch at some point again, because it's one of those things where it's like I have the good memories of it, and I remember really liking it. Will my perception change?
I mean, they're very iconic. The show is very iconic.
Yeah.
For better or worse. Like, I definitely remember a lot about it.
You just bust Madam Foster's
That episode's
bust.
funny. That's a really good one.
Yeah. Yeah, there's plenty of memorable moments, but as a whole, I don't of the Craig McCracken shows, I think that one kind of, I don't know, I kind of like Wander a little bit more. I think it might be my least favorite of the three. And it can get mean spirited in a negative way. It can, and there's definitely cases where it's like, ugh, this isn't like even fun, and I don't know. I just think that it's definitely one of those shows that, especially coming from a lot of people's opinions that I hear, it probably isn't as good as I remember it. But, as the fondness is still there, and I still appreciate it. So, ultimately what I'm trying to say is it's hot until people.
You guys remember when we did the recast on Invaded, and just like everyone was just bummed about like Foster's was annoying, their partners of Monkeys annoying, Camp Laszlo's annoying.
It's like, it was so disheartening because it was like, we were like, yeah, this was such a cool thing that happened, and we went back, it's like, wow, this was all garbage until the end.
Yeah, here's a great snapshot of Cartoon Network in 2006 or 7, and then we watched it and we're like, oh, well, maybe we should leave that in the past.
Yeah.
We got to go back farther.
Oh man. All right. Should we wrap things up in like 10 minutes?
Yeah, we can do a couple more questions and then call
Thanks
it.
for being here for this, Kuro. Thanks for
Oh yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
Like old times.
Mm-hmm.
I guess in light of the Battle for Bikini Bottom rehydrated remake, and I know we also talked about like Nicktoons Unite and stuff, but Ratchet Extreme in the server asks, what old game would you like to see a remake for? It can be any game, just any old game you'd like to see remade.
Pokemon Snap. Oh!
Lucky for you. Yeah, I don't know.
No, now that just because we mentioned it and I'm thinking about it, I'd like to see like an updated version of N+.
They have N++.
They do?
Yes.
Wow. All right, never mind.
Yeah, check it out. It's on Steam.
Huh.
Yeah. Nice.
You're welcome. Wish granted.
To go back to Sonic Adventure 1 and 2.
Come on, man. Why?
Because I got to bring up Sonic, man. Well, I'd say like I was thinking like Mario, but like that's kind of somewhat rumored to be happening. So, I'm sure they'll remake. I mean, Nintendo's done it with Zelda and Pokemon. I think they'll do it with Mario. So
yeah, I'll be boring and say Mario 64. I mean, I know they got the DS remake, but come on, that's not a great way to play. Like, imagine it with Odyssey's graphics and just added stars in there, and I don't know. I feel like that'd be really cool. You could even just have it be DLC for Odyssey, for all I care. Well, because the thing is I'm trying to think about a lot of other games that I love, and like they've already been remade. Like Banjo-Kazooie was greatly remade on the Xbox. Pokemon Red and Blue is Fire Red and Leaf Green. Like I don't know, like what?
Oh, not Let's Go.
No. We don't need to talk about that. Yeah, and I mean, like a lot of the games I love are games like Terraria and Don't Starve, which like are still getting updates. Oh, excuse me, Terraria just finally got its final update, although they'll probably still be patching things for the next year. Yeah, I don't know. I would say Mario 64.
Would you believe the only Sonic game I've played is Sonic 06?
Yeah, Kuro! That's my man!
Oh, come on.
That's my only experience with Sonic.
I feel stabbed in the heart. Just like Sonic in
The music was kind of nice.
The music's like the only thing people compliment. That and the CG cutscenes.
See, like I
like that it hurt Sonic's reputation.
What's that Sonic game apart from all the others? Like, is it the gameplay mechanics, or is it the levels, or so? Because to me, like, I can't see a Sonic game being any different than that.
Okay, so I think it would help if you've played other Sonic games, because if you're going into that, like that being your first one, you're not gonna, you don't have the perspective of it controls horrendously for what Sonic usually controls like. The level design is terrible compared to other games that have been made. It's ultimately the core lies in the gameplay. Sure, the story is not good, but who cares about the story? It's a Sonic game. The gameplay is where it really faults. It's very buggy, very glitchy. The control is super stiff and uncoordinated. And like when you've played other Sonic games and you go to that one, the difference is all that more noticeable. It's like,
What Sonic
know,
game would you
it's
recommend to like give me a better like?
I'd say if you want to play like a quote unquote modern Sonic game, I'd say play Sonic Generations, because that gives you the 2D and 3D aspect of what Sonic is all about. But if you want to play like an older, I'd say probably Sonic Adventure 1 or 2, because those are the ones that people still seem to praise, and I'd say it's deserved. They've aged, but they're definitely the kind of standout 3D.
Oh wait, are the
Sonic
Sonic Adventure like the side-scrolling pixel ones?
No, those are the Sonic 1, 2, 3, and Mania.
Okay.
Those are the classic.
Because I just remember my
Genesis
Xbox
ones.
360 when I first got it, it did have a demo of a Sonic game on it. It was one of the side-scrolling ones, so I did play that.
Oh yeah,
So
that'd be a classic.
I guess I have played two.
Classic Genesis one. Yeah,
Um,
yeah, but
we did get another super chat from Weston Coley, just saying Zone ruined Foster's for me. LOL. Gotta go.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear that.
Same. Also, I want to point everyone. I'm gonna retweet this. Monsters Review. I don't know if you know this guy. Good friend. He he tweeted a picture that he drew of Fredburger from 2006. Kuro, can you please give your opinion on this? I'll link it in the Discord.
I'm looking at it right now. I just looked it up.
I'd like to see an art review.
You know, honestly, it's really not that bad.
Right?
Like you can tell it's drawn from a picture, I think, or at least I'd assume so, just because like that looks like one of the stock art poses, but it's really not that bad.
Judge, where are the nachos?
I don't know. I think it's lacking basic construction, and the perspective leaves a lot to be desired.
The composition could be better.
It's not an elder scientist as a pickle, so you can only be so good.
Yeah, that's true. You can't top that.
Oh man, yeah, give that a like, everyone. That's a great drawing, and big props to Monsters for wanting to share that.
Yeah,
I know I wouldn't. No, just kidding. I've shared my doodles, and they're way worse than that. Oh god. Fredburger is the voice of a generation, says Mark. Maybe. The Yes era.
He's the voice of 2007.
But fall is just something that grown-ups invented.
No, please don't do this.
Oh man, good times. All right, guys. Any last questions? Oh man, it was a good stream.
Yeah,
Glad everyone.
yeah, and a lot of
Yeah.
fun.
Kind of flew by.
Thank you for coming on, Kuro.
Thank you for having me. Anytime.
Anything else in the server?
Let's see. I guess Mr. Cringe asks, "What's your guilty pleasure for a TV show?"
All of my shows are guilty pleasure.
Ben 10, the original. No.
Yeah.
No. I don't know. I feel like I like all shows that I like unironically.
Victorious.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I can't think of a show that I would be embarrassed to say about.
Any CW show,
Yeah, I can't
Kuro?
either.
I think you should feel embarrassed about all of those.
I'm embarrassed for what they became, but I would send their earlier seasons to the grave.
That's fair. All
But
right.
I am getting sick of them.
Well, I think we're just gonna go ahead and wrap things up here. Again, thanks, Kuro. Thanks, Shadow, for being here.
Oh yeah, I'm glad I could be here.
I know you're always here. I was just trying to. Oh goodness. The Discord link is down in the description. Thanks again, Weston. If you need to see it, also the link to the Stream Soda channel where you can catch this video as well as all of our others. This video might be coming in like a few days though, but it'll be there before next Soda stream. Stream Soda. Oh man. And yeah, I don't know. Check out Pie Guy Plays and check out the Ink Tank.
Hey,
Yep.
we do stuff. Come
Mhm.
look.
It's true. They do stuff. I watch the stuff they
Yep,
do.
Yeah.
yep. All right. So with that, Pie Guy rules out.
See ya.
Keep it fizzy.